This is The Bad Listener with Danny Stroh.
So you don't have a list this time because the one we did was like the end of the year.
Oh no, yeah, that was the only reason.
And holy shit, was that list huge?
Right? It was like
I was like, okay.
You could pause it.
Yeah, no, I had to rewind it a few times. I was like, end of the year, more like end of the fucking century.
Yeah, that list is like my Spotify Rex for like 2 years now. Like slowly going through
He
it.
texted me. He goes, "I need some new hip hop to listen to. I start just rattling albums off." He's
So
like, "Okay." He's like, "Just stop. This is too much."
I'm good for
He's like, "I'm not gonna get to these in the next 5 years."
You gotta be diligent about it. I feel like I just wake up and I put the same shit on and drive to work. And it's like,
I listened to all of them, and that's where I first heard Balance and Bray. Love it.
Ooh,
Dude, I almost picked that as my album.
I almost picked it as the bonus album.
Like they only have 2 albums from what I could see and a couple of EPs, right?
Yeah, they only have 2
But
albums.
holy shit! So I was playing
That
it,
sound, man.
and everybody's like, it's like a mix between like the Beastie Boys and Rage Against the Machine a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I see more Beastie Boys
It's
for
the
sure.
Beastie Boys and like a mix of something else that I couldn't put my finger on, but it's definitely got like the Beastie Boys vibe to it. But yeah, that album is like from front to back. It's just a fun album to listen to.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I
Gets
never...
you hyped.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. It's like a hype album. I mean, like, they just did a phenomenal job of making that album from front to back just a great album to listen to. There's like not one song that you can't enjoy on it. Like every song is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Funk Tactics.
Yeah. No, Punk Tactics is on the first album.
Punk Tactics.
But that's on the first album, right? That's not on the second album.
I thought it was on the second.
On No Hands? I don't think it's on No Hands. I think Punk Tactics came out for the that was off the first album, which came out a year before.
Because
that album was good too, but that album was more. I don't want to say not like gangster rap, but it was more like aggressive in a nature that was like almost angry rap rather than like the fun side that came out on No Hands. No
I
Hands
guess, but Punk Tactics is the one I like more. For
I
sure.
could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that was on the album before the first album.
Yeah. Well, no, the first album is Punk Tactics. The second one's No Hands.
Yeah, No Hands. Yeah.
But
the song Punk Tactics
is on Punk Tactics.
Right. Yeah, okay.
It makes sense.
I didn't know the name of the album was Punk Tactics. I forgot the name of the album.
It's fucking good, man.
Really?
Yeah, that's a really aggressive album. That's like a drive to Vegas or workout.
That's a
kind
must.
of album.
It's a must listen. Like if you're any type of hip hop fan, that's a must listen album. And it just looks so fun, like the album cover. Everything about it looks like it was like a joke. Like when I saw the album cover, I'm like, I'm really gonna listen to this album. But it had such high reviews. I'm like, I gotta give it. And then you start listening, and you're like, oh, this album is awesome. Like, it's just funny the way they present themselves and stuff. But a great album, must listen album.
What's up, Zach?
I didn't listen to the album.
Are you serious?
I never heard it. No.
I gave him the lists like weeks before, maybe like a month before.
Yeah.
We sit down. I'm like, all right, did you get to it? I didn't get to it.
I'm bad.
Did you do your
I'm
homework
bad
this time?
I'm bad for a music podcast. I don't know the comparison album that well at all, but it's all right.
Do you ever listen to License to Ill?
Mm-hmm.
Beastie Boys?
Yeah.
So imagine that, but in 2023.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
No, he was talking about the comparison, the albums I gave for
today.
this.
Oh.
He didn't even listen to those. It's all right. Shae listened to it 15 minutes before we started.
All right. I'm here for the vibe. I wish you could put
just
it
like
on.
we're back in school.
You make it like it's homework.
It's okay.
It's like,
I literally.
I didn't give you 10 albums.
I labeled the playlist homework, so it kind of was.
It's like I'm torturing you now.
No, I liked all that stuff. It's rare that I'll listen to an album like completely.
Yeah.
But when I do, I just put it on a loop and listen to it over and over.
I know. That's why I like this. I almost never listen to an album from front to back.
I started doing it now, like when new albums
albums.
drop and pop up. Like I listen to Vultures Part 1, Vultures Part 2, Kanye. Because I'm like, what's going on in this guy's mind?
Yeah, let me get a little deeper look.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter showed us everything, so it's not much.
Yeah.
much there. And then Eminem's new album, I listened to that front to back. I mean, anything that pops up, Mac Miller's new album, I listened to that. I think you gave me a heads up on that when that popped out.
Maybe, yeah.
Right.
I might have. But,
That was all like things they had already.
Yeah, the vault, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the way it works is you record a ton of material, and then like not everything makes an album.
So
you always have, a lot of artists have all this leftover stuff
That's just
that
waiting.
never.
They Tupac'd his ass, basically.
Yeah.
They just recorded shit
I just made it.
Yeah, he had a lot of record. I mean, you can tell too. Like a lot of it's like unfinished stuff or like demo type stuff where it's like they're talking in the background and stuff.
What was the single? There was like the one that came out for that first. It was like, is it Colors? Something like that. That made off that album, off the Mac Miller album. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what they made
like,
a single. The
they
best
like,
song on there is Funny Papers. That song is great.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. Yeah, Mac Miller.
But a lot of the songs you can tell are very like they seem like this type of demo just recorded for fun type of thing where it was never finished properly. But I mean, they did a good job with the production of it. You know, I mean, they put really good beats behind a lot of the stuff, and they kind of, I guess, try to put together what some of his best work that wasn't put on albums. I mean, it's crazy that album could be better than some of the albums he did. Like, I mean, not towards the end. I think the albums he put out towards the end, people kind of overlooked. And when you go back on those last albums, like Circles and Swimming,
Swimming
is so good.
Divine Feminine was good.
See that's where I think like he tried to like conceptually do something that didn't really work out. I mean, I think there's only like really one great song off that
Movies
album.
with the Lights.
That's an underrated album.
I like that one a lot.
That was the first album I heard by him, and I don't even know when Faces was released. If Faces was before or after that, because that was like a mixtape. I mean, Faces is some of his really best work, but
what's the album cover of Faces?
You
Is that the one like where he's yawning?
Oh.
But
This is the one.
That's a lot of his best work is on there, in my opinion, because it has a more of a mixtape feel where he's kind of just spitting rhymes like really good, like it's probably the height of which he could do it.
Is Faces isn't there a title track on there that's called Faces too?
Yeah, I think there's a song called Faces on there.
It's got like that weird sample in the beginning where the guy's like talking. If you see, yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. Maybe. Yeah. You see colors. But,
yeah,
and then it starts like it comes in like really slow.
Yeah, maybe.
So cool. It looks very like a little jazz situation.
What about Good AM? Good AM has to be one of my favorite albums from him.
Yeah. Good AM actually does have a lot of good songs on it, but those, I feel like that era of him putting out that music was like severely overlooked. I mean, especially watching movies with the sound off. I mean, there was such good material on there that just never got any good critical acclaim. It was nuts to me. I tried to get people into that album when it came out because I couldn't believe how good he made that album. Because I remember like he had some stuff before that, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about this guy. And then when watching movies with the sound came out, I was blown away by some of that stuff. The Red Dot music with Action Bronson, one of his sickest songs he's ever made. He has a lot of good tracks on that album. Severely overlooked artist altogether.
The Tiny Desk concert is maybe. I guess because it.
I didn't see the Tiny Desk concert.
The Tiny Desk concert is like, I don't know when he recorded it, but it's very. It's like he does the one song and it's very sad because, as you know, like how he ends up dying. Like
right.
It's like a hard watch, and Thundercat plays bass during the Tiny Desk concert, so it's really cool. Well, but he looks like very like. I don't know. You know how it is with this stuff when you know what's going to happen to somebody, you kind of like project. You're like, oh man, he seems pretty sad, and this, it's like a hard watch now. It's really, I think it's one of my favorite ones though.
That was like I was watching.
It's really good.
I was watching Nirvana's Unplugged the other day because they have it on like HBO Max or something. They came out with all the Unplugged series, and it's kind of like super depressing to watch that now, knowing that he kills himself like 3 months after they recorded that. It's messed up, but I mean, it's like probably some of his best recorded live work. It's just really amazing when you really watch that whole Unplugged from front to back. He covers so many songs in such a spectacular way. But yeah, stuff like that is weird. But when you listen to Circles, that's what's like really sad about Circles, because that's what he recorded like right before he died. And a lot of that, it's not even really that much of a hip hop album as much as he tried to make it like an R&B album. And it's like a lot of songs like you're like, oh man, this is like, you really get into his head, like what he was going through and stuff like that. You know, Swimming was really good. I completely looked over Swimming until after he had passed away, and then I went back and listened to Swimming, and I was like, wow, this album, I really shouldn't have overlooked this album. It was a really good album. But yeah, I guess we could do Balloonerism first. You want to do? I guess we just did, right? the
pop-up album.
The bonus album.
Bonus album.
Amazon Music.
Yeah, they actually made like a limited edition of it.
It's wild.
It's really good. I see, this is the other problem I have with albums from artists that come out after they pass away. It's a little overrated as far as the ratings go, like through the roof, but it's like, are they doing that because he's deceased?
Are people just so happy to have content that
I
they're just
mean,
like, oh my God.
I am happy to have content. I think a lot of the songs are really good, but I don't think it really compares. Like, there's, I don't think it compares to Faces or.
I would say like it's a good album, but it's a more artistic album. And then knowing that he's gone, like
it hits you a different way.
Yeah.
Like if he had come out with this while he was still there, it wouldn't.
I don't think it would, and I wouldn't have I wouldn't be like, oh, it's good.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I love the art on it though. It's like Picasso and his blue period, just fucking crazy wild.
Yeah. Yeah, but also I give it a must listen. I think it's something to definitely give a listen to. Maybe get you into Mac Miller, but almost all his albums are really, you could really get into and listen to all his albums. He did a really good job. But we'll start off your picks. Who wants to go first?
I mean, I could go first. The tandem. You have it on vinyl as well?
Yeah.
Did you buy it for this, or you already
So I had this on vinyl already.
Just because the 20th anniversary of this album was November 16th of last year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of there was an opportunity to get it again. They did a bunch of releases. Like they had.
Yeah, I don't know.
I forget what single. Like I don't know what song they put as like. I think it was Hoe Cakes. I think they did a single of Hoe Cakes like with a different cover, and then they did a cassette. But they went kind of crazy for November 16th. They were selling a bunch of merch and everything, but I didn't end up buying it again.
So. Before we go any further, it's MF Doom's Food. I don't even think we said the name of the album.
Yes. Especially if you can't see it. Especially if you're listening to this and not watching the video.
MF Doom's Food. Kind of a concept album, right? Everything has to do with food on the album.
Yeah, the whole thing is a concept album. Yeah. Another artist with a tragic death as well, who's really plagued by.
How did he die?
I was gonna say
the family didn't release it.
They didn't release how. They never released how.
But it's kind of like one of those things where you just wonder, maybe it was just a health thing and he wasn't that healthy, but also as someone that seemed to kind of suffer with a lot of, I don't want to say demons, but he was someone that was always kind of battling with identity, and he has this whole alias, and I mean, you guys know his whole thing with his brother, and how he developed his brother. This is where I'm gonna fumble and not know his brother's performance name. Maybe we could look it up, but
you could. No, there's no.
Did they perform together?
I don't have. Well, yeah. So when he was getting into hip hop, from what I understand, when he was getting into music, he him and his brother were both rapping, and then his brother gets killed. I think he got hit by a car or a truck or something, and obviously it really affects him.
Oh, yeah.
He like drops off the face of the scene for a year or more. Like doesn't make music, doesn't go to like, you know, because it was the time he was coming up was like freestyle and you know, it's like that New York scene where it's like everyone's battling each other and it's like our earlier hip hop, and then he comes back with this mask on, like this villain character in an alias, and just destroys everyone. And he's got this like whole new, you know, now he's MF Doom, and he just makes all this music with this mask on. His whole career.
He only performed with the mask on.
He only performed with the mask on. Like people hated him because he would like pay someone else to go with a mask on to the show, or like not go to his show. Like he was kind of like shitty. Like he would like not show up to his show at all, or show up and do one song, or someone would come with a mask and maybe it wasn't him, and like
Well, I mean, could you really?
Yeah,
how
like,
do you really fake it though?
you know, you you still tell like you see the whole bottom of his face.
No, but I mean, like once they start the performance.
Yeah, like I would need to go and watch
like
like
a really shitty mic.
Yeah, right.
It's just all
Just kinda
static,
goes
and
up
it's like,
there.
oh, cool. All right, they sound way different in concert, like live. He sounds so much different.
He must have a cold.
And he looks shorter. That's wild.
But it's like someone that has all the trappings of like a lot of like inner battles. That's just a really great artist. That
They're
has
usually
all, you know, alcoholism and like genius. Like
genius usually like his lyricism is insane. MF Doom's wild.
One of the best lyrics.
And his flow is really crazy, and he just has a very kind of like casual way of talking through things, and you know, it's like all the stuff I love about hip hop. Like you can like listen to it and you see pictures of stuff in your head. Like it's very like
it's like a cartoon, right? It's like a comic strip, and I love that. Like his entire persona is like is a concept of a villain taken from a Marvel cartoon, right?
Yeah,
like Doctor Doom, and then he throws all of those clips from like the 1950s cartoons into his song. Like I love it. It's outside of the box for sure.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. I think, you know, everybody has their journey with what makes them find out about another artist, and I think like as someone that grew up with a lot of samples and like Wu-Tang stuff, and I love the idea of when an artist creates like this whole like fantasy world where their work exists. And he does the same thing, you know, using all that same you know, if you like watched Adult Swim or Cartoon Network or all those early cartoons, like all that DNA is in the music, and it's just, I like love that stuff. And this album is just great because it's the typical like album from that time period where it's a story and it's this whole wacky kind of back and forth thing with all these food samples, and he's just pulling things from cartoons and media about food. Like so that the intro's whacked out, wild. But
funny thing, you know, he collabs with like Czarface, right?
Yeah, big time.
But do you know, like, there's another rapper that's like on, I think, 1 or 2 tracks called Frankie Facepuller. Do you know who that is?
No.
Tom Hardy.
Is it really?
Swear.
That's crazy.
Tom Hardy is like, I think there's like 2 tracks where he features on, and it's not bad. And it's like Tom Hardy was like trying to be a rapper before he was an actor.
Really?
So they have.
And that was on the Metal Face, the Czarface.
That's on the Czarface album.
Which is pretty. The newest Czarface album was pretty. I mean, we got that from Vinyl Me Please.
Yeah.
Kind of a more recent album, right? That was his.
What?
He did one with Czarface like before he died.
Yeah,
like
the Metal Face.
Yeah. And I didn't love that album.
No.
You know, this and Doomsday. I hate being that guy that's just like, oh, I loved his first 2 albums. You know, like all this shit is great.
Yeah,
it's just
Doomsday
like
was okay. Where is he from? Is he
New York?
He is from New York.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I had in my head he was from the UK. I don't know why.
I could see that. Maybe he grew up there when he was really young and then he moved to New York.
I don't know. That's what I had in my head.
I thought I had that in my head too.
What? There's from the UK.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Since you're on your phone, dude.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, even the album cover is like some wacky oil painting.
So it's Czarface Intelligence, and he's under the name Frankie Facepuller, Frenzy in a Far Off World, something that he's on. Let's see. What?
Yeah, I felt like his music was all like, at least like the North Shore, Staten Island, and New York like ethos of like the hood nerd thing.
Yeah.
He's from London.
He's from
Yes,
London.
I said he's from the UK.
Hounslow
Okay,
district of London.
I thought it was
But
London.
I mean, he probably moved out here.
Yeah. Well, for the scene, I mean, the scene is. Something.
Yeah. Like when though? Was he like
Well, Doomsday
14 or was he like?
Yeah.
Oh, how
well,
old
it says
was he?
he was born in Hounslow, London, but he grew up in Long Beach, New York.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
So he's so witty. He's got a little English.
yeah, he moved there when he was a kid. So I mean, he's the same as 21 Savage.
Yeah.
Really?
21 Savage, yeah.
Same thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's that whole it's the whole like hood nerd, like you have this weird combination of kind of like being raised by cartoons and nerdy media and video games, but it's also there's this like gangster kind of background to it.
He's got that like persona and style that stands out from the rest of hip hop. The craziest part about him and his coming into hip hop is his best albums, especially, were at a time where like if you weren't on the radio, how did anybody hear you? Like I didn't hear about MF Doom until after 2010, at least.
Yeah,
Because in the
we
2000s,
I didn't know him until high school. Like high school is when we listened.
like
to him.
even high school. Well, all right. So I mean, but this came out when we were in high school. It's 2004, right? We were freshmen in high school, 2004.
Yeah, 2000.
I didn't even know about him in high school, only because how would you hear about him? Like it was kind of like all those underground rappers, you know, like.
Yeah, my friend Brian Thompson just had the album and like we listened to it one day.
Oh yeah.
We were like,
Because I don't think I really listened
burning
to
out and young kids just hanging out,
Yeah.
chilling at the house, and he put it on, and then like Jimmy Frisha
Yeah.
loves Doom, but like, yeah, kind of just grew up listening to it, and it holds up for sure.
Oh no, for sure. But you know what's crazy about this album too? And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure this came out at the same year as Mad Villainy.
Maybe, yeah.
I think they both came out in 2004, which is wild. Two of his.
Yeah, like how? Just pumping out music. I mean, like, did he
quite
make
weird.
money on this stuff at all?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Was he like broke? I feel like he's one of those people that didn't really ever
Well,
like.
he wasn't commercial.
He's
wasn't
not like
commercial.
I don't want to compare him to like Jadakiss, right?
No,
Because
no,
Jadakiss
I'm not.
had way more like, especially in that time period, way more like he was in videos and things and like kind of part of the conversation.
Well,
but if he was always kind of underground, right?
No,
I
yeah,
would
that's-
say you could compare him to like solo artists from the Wu-Tang Clan.
No, they had way more.
They did have way more,
Exposure.
but I feel like he would be someone that would like make his money on touring for sure.
No, he
Opening
had
up
to.
for
He had
artists
to.
like that, right?
I mean,
And
even
that's
if you
where
have a
artists
hardcore
do make
fan base,
most
how
of
are you
their money.
getting more fans?
At shows.
You're not on TV. You're not on the radio. This is pre-internet. 2004.
And what is he? Is he like a independent artist? Like what record label was he signed? Because if he's not signed with a record label, he stayed independent. Then all his money he makes is gonna keep, right? It's not like that.
No, because isn't this his record label, Rhymesayers Entertainment? Isn't that his?
Yeah, I don't think he ever
I think that's
signed
his
with
record.
anyone major. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so that's probably why, because his distribution's not crazy. Like he's not with a major record label.
No,
that
of
gets
course.
distributed.
Yeah.
He
But
doesn't have
everything he
access,
makes is pretty much he's gonna keep, right? So you sell, 100. Say you sell 10,000 albums, right? You're still gonna make a good amount of money, especially since he was coming up in a time where
I'm
you're
sure he
literally
did fine.
selling cassettes and CDs, and
Yeah.
then you make a shitload of
But
money.
then he
All
ruined his
physical
live.
media.
He ruined his live shows by not showing up.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah, no,
I
he
mean,
wouldn't show up.
maybe it was him
He was in the crowd.
under the mask with another mask on, and that's like that double entendre.
Well, that's like the whole thing. It's like the demons. Like when it comes down to like getting out in front of everybody, he's not coming. It's like,
Yeah.
and this kind of music is just not like you see how hip hop has changed and evolved over the years. But there's always been like these concerts you go to that are like hype. Like even when you see Nas, like I saw Nas in high school, and like the Nas concert, it was like Nas and the Roots, and it was exciting. Like it was like very animated and like this, like you're gonna go watch it, and you just kind of like
He's very monotone.
you're gonna nod your head and like listen. It's almost better on your Walkman or in your house. Like it's not you're gonna go see him.
Yeah.
It's like going to a poetry reading.
But it's crazy too.
It's a good
because
point.
That style exploded now. That's like a big style, and it wasn't big then. Throughout the 2000s, and when he was big, his style was so just him, really. Like even a lot of conscious hip hop that came out didn't sound like that. It wasn't as monotone. It wasn't as simplistic beats and stuff like that. That style is huge now, which is why I picked the album I picked to compare it to, because those albums now are like the hip hop artists now putting out that style that he created are like huge. You know what I mean? It's very popular. It's so hard to listen to too. For me, MF Doom was never hard to listen to, but when other people replicate that style in hip hop, it was very hard for me to get into because it was so. It almost seemed boring to me. Like, you know, there was the beats were very simple, the rapping's very like monotone, like, but when you really get into it and like start listening to it and you realize where it came from, you know, everything's like a progression as far as listening, you know. The first time I listened to everything, I hate it. So I feel like I say, every time I listen to something new that I haven't heard before, I hate it. Yeah. It's just how my brain reacts to something I haven't heard before, right? You want something that you're familiar with. But
I wonder how it would do, like, I mean, you can never say this because maybe that stuff you're talking about wouldn't even exist, but like with like modern distribution and the internet and the way music seems to work now and gets spread around, he like may have been way more successful now.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Like,
but he created that style. How long? I don't know. It's
like
weird.
If no one had ever created it and he came out in 2022 and he started making this kind of music. I mean, it would probably sound kind of dated in a lot of ways, right? With all the strange sampling and cartoons that are not relevant to the people that are, you know, he was sampling stuff from the 50s and 60s. Like,
I mean, even probably not the 50s. And I think it was like
there's some like early stuff in there. There's like weird early stuff. Like,
but like,
yeah,
some of it's like the 90s. It reminds me so much of the 90s Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah.
Which still sounded like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, there wasn't much like growth in like the way, like the announcer's voice. Yeah. It's like the one guy doing all the readings for every, like literally one person.
Welcome to Movie Phone.
Yeah. It's like whoever, that guy probably did pretty good.
Hell yeah.
The Movie Phone guy?
But,
yeah, until the internet came out.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, it's just pretty crazy. And I never got to see him live, but I don't really regret it.
Well, it could have been someone else.
Could have been a complete flop.
I don't regret not getting duped.
Getting tricked, you know. Never meet your heroes. And it's a funny thing too, because like in the nerd culture, like if you go to Comic-Con, like there'll be like all these booths with people that just have all the nerdy stuff, you know, Marvel cartoon posters and Star Wars things, and then like the fan base likes MF Doom. Like, I saw some guy at Comic-Con this year, and he was, like, just this fat nerd. Like, with a backpack on, and he was MF Doom as his, like, cosplay. And he was just in there, like, reeking a weed. Like, just, like, and he was playing, he had, like, a little JBL speaker on his belt, and he was just playing it. All he did was, like, his whole costume was, like, a hoodie, and he bought, like, a plastic version of the mask for $25. And it was, like, it was hilarious.
I didn't even think of that. So, Comic-Con, there's actually, like, MF Doom.
Yeah, because it's like comic culture. Like Comic-Con is one of those things. Like, not to go on a Comic-Con tangent, but like as someone like me that's very nerdy right now, like nerdy stuff. I never went to Comic-Con, like until like 3 years ago, and I was pleasantly surprised on how cool it is. Just because people go crazy with their costumes, it's like wild to see what people do. And if you like art, the whole basement of the Javits Center is just people who do graphic novels and artists, and you could just go through and talk to artists all day. Like
independent, right? Like,
yeah, like they pay for their table. So like you might meet someone like, you know, people that I've read their graphic, because I read a lot of graphic novels, and I'm like, oh my god, it's the guy that does like Head Looper. Here he is. Hey, nice to meet you. I read all your books. That's blah blah blah. Or like, I'm a big Star Wars nerd. Timothy Zahn was there. He's the guy that made Thrawn, the blue dude in Star Wars, who's like getting very popular. And then it's kind of sad because you see like, they bought all his stuff, and now Disney is going to make $1 billion off these Thrawn as a character, and this guy's sitting there at a table signing $10 autographs, Like, and he created this character that, like, he doesn't own the rights to anymore. It's like, it's like horrible. But I'm like, for me, I was like, this is my favorite character in Star Wars, and here's the guy that wrote the books that, like, sat in his house and cooked it up, and, like, I get to go shake his hand, talk about it for a minute. Like, it's cool, Comic-Con. It's a lot, and it's like, it is pretty freaking nerdy and weird. It smells. It really smells.
I can't. That was the first thing. I didn't want to go there, but I'm glad you did.
Yes.
That's
really
an
smells.
Assumption that most people have. I'm glad.
No, it's true. And, like, you know, you have to approach it with, like, you go in there, you go get some, like, cool art, you get beers, you wander around. It's like a pretty fun day.
From what I see too, like, they drop a lot of trailers for, like, new shit, right? Like the trailer I saw, well, it's like a teaser trailer, but they're putting, like, Robert Downey Jr. back into the MCU as Doom.
As Doom.
So, like,
he's gonna be Doom. Like, not like Iron Man became Doom.
it's just the same actor, but he's just playing a different character.
Okay.
But Doom, pretty much Iron Man, but
Yeah.
pretty much doing the same thing, you know.
And that creates, like, it's just that it's funny when, like, a character gets resurrected and then you've created your alias off of a character that was sort of dead from a comic a long time ago. Now he's dead. It's like that artist I like, the Suck Lord, who lives in Chinatown. He does, like, action figures, like raunchy action figures.
Oh, no shit.
It's hilarious. I gotta show you his stuff. He's hilarious, but he'll do, like, you know, he does the Suck Lord. But he used Boba Fett, like, as his, when he created his alias, he wears a Boba Fett helmet all the time. So now, like
always?
Well, like, nah, but, like, you know, like, in his, like, version of himself in his art, he is, like, Boba Fett with some broad, or, like, Boba Fett in a tuxedo. He always has the helmet, and now the new Boba Fett show came out a few years ago, so then, like, now
Did your shit blow up since then?
Kind of, yeah. His work is kind of switching. I just listened to a really cool podcast with him. The dude is sick. Like, I mean, it's like, I don't know it's pop art. You know, you're taking something that's like a accessible media and making it, like, art for regular people. So, like, he makes a figure and it's, you know, $50 and normal people can buy it. But he'll do, like, hilarious things, like political things, like once a week, like, just make, like, all these action figures and sell them. But yeah, anyway, the Boba Fett show comes out. Boba Fett's kind of lame in the Boba Fett show. Like, he's, like, changed his... It's, like, later, and now he's, like, kind of softer, and he's trying to, like, find a family. You know, the show wasn't really received well.
I thought it was huge.
It was...
Mandalorian?
No, Mandalorian was cool, but, like, they did the book of Boba Fett, and that show was pretty much, like...
Oh. Yeah, I never even heard of it.
It's like Boba the Fett takes over Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt's dead. He takes over Jabba the Hutt's business, right? But then he's, like, making friends with people. He's doing all this.
Fett?
Yeah.
No, wait, hold on. Is this an alternate universe? Didn't Boba Fett die?
He survived the Sarlacc pit, and he comes out. But now it's like, you know, you create this alias. You know, Boba Fett says 2 lines in all of Star Wars. He's this badass guy that sits in the back with a gun.
Well, he's supposed to be like a hitman.
So hitman, he's a bounty hunter, and now he's like this big puss. Like,
so there's this one thing that stands out in my mind about Boba Fett and about Comic-Con. And it's this, like...
Nerds like both of them.
Yeah, a lot. Like, so much so that there was this one, this TV show where people buy, like, memorabilia, right? So this dude goes to a Comic-Con and buys a Boba Fett action figure. But it's like this clear, like, there's something defective in it, but it was still manufactured. So it's like a clear Boba Fett without a paint coat on it for like $100,000. $100,000 for an action figure of, like you said, a character that has 2 lines in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's just, and it's crazy to, yeah, I just feel like as an artist, the reason the Suckler guy's worth bringing up is, like, it's interesting to build a whole art career around taking an alias from media that you didn't create. And then you're now subject, as the artist, you're now subject to anything the people that do own that character's media rights do to that character. So, like, now that Robert Downey Jr. is going to come out as Doom, and Doom might be, like, kind of wacky and dumb in these new movies, and then it kind of makes MF Doom's Dune character seem kind of like a wimp.
Wow.
And the same thing is going to happen with, like, would that happen with Boba Fett? Like, oh, Boba Fett's all sensitive now, and he's, like, helping out the people in his city, as opposed to just, like
being a merc.
Going up to, like, he goes up to, like, a prostitute, touches her chin, then shoots somebody. Like, it's, like, a whole different kind of, he goes from a cowboy to a regular sensitive guy, and it changes, like, now your whole artistic process and alias is tied to this thing you have no control over, because the rights of it are owned by somebody else.
Yeah, well, they Disneyfied.
Yeah, it got Disneyfied. They changed his ship from Slave 1 to Boba Fett Starfighter, because you can't call it Slave 1. Because slave, it's bad. Slaves are bad. We know that.
We know that. Yeah.
We know that. It's not real. It's a space show. There's slaves there. There's aliens. It's okay. It's not here. Nobody likes slaves here. It's like
Didn't
they don't
Jabba
like them
the
there
Hutt
anywhere.
have women on
on
chains?
chains.
Like,
That's fine though. They're leaving that.
They're leaving that.
It's crazy.
You got to think about your audience. Okay.
It's funny though because Star Wars is associated with like children. I feel like for the most part, like we were kids, we watched. But when you watch it,
We
again,
were
you're
kids, but when that shit came out, it was like
it wasn't right.
It was
Like it wasn't
teenagers.
kids watching it in the 70s and 80s.
It was
teenagers.
teenagers.
But that's the thing. You watch it now, and you're like, kids really. There's a lot of stuff in here. Kids shouldn't be watching. Like, cause
the whole brother sister incest thing was
it's pretty weird.
Fucking weird.
Well,
But I feel like he wrote that before knowing where he was gonna go with the rest of it.
He was making up
That's
as he
the
was going.
only.
For sure.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, dude, they're gonna get together, and number 2 is like, oh, maybe not.
Harrison Ford signed on for the next movie? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
She likes Harrison Ford now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also media in the 70s, like, was more open, I guess. Maybe not the incest part. But, like,
No, I mean,
like, it was okay for it to be, like, a little more, like, I don't know, it's not even that gritty. It's kind of corny. But, yeah, it's just interesting to see someone base a whole career around a character from media that wouldn't be, I mean, like, gangster hip-hop and, like, being in the era that he was making music was, like, hip-hop was this, like, violent, crazy, there was this whole, like, beef thing happening, and, it was this tough guy thing for a lot of these artists, and he's like, this is like this comic book, and I'm the comic book character. And, like, everyone was like, okay, cool, that's still pretty cool. And, like, Wu-Tang Clan does it, too. It's all this, like, weird ninja stuff. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird one, right? They were able to get away with making one of the greatest albums of all time, like, with all that.
It's just all kung fu, but they're still gangster, and they still, like, respect
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But, like, they also,
made it
like...
seem so much more gangster, right?
Yeah. And it influences a whole generation of, I mean, all where we live, and, it's fascinating.
It is.
yeah.
That's acceptable, like...
I feel like Lupe did that too, though, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
and all with he loves all that stuff and Japanese,
the whole Japanese
fashion
samurais
and music
stuff.
and samurais. I mean, he does like he's
pop
sick
art.
with a sword now. He does kendo.
Oh yeah.
Lupe Fiasco is like a dirty sword fighter, like in real life.
That's why.
Yeah, it's like that's a good YouTube.
You know what's wild
K-hole the spiral down late at night watching Lupe Fiasco do kendo for 25 minutes.
I think Lupe's in his like 50s now, which is like weird to think about.
Right, I know.
Kick, push.
Yeah.
Yeah, that album is old.
He also
too.
teaches hip hop as a professor somewhere too.
Really?
I forget where.
Well, he's like a really smart dude. He's
Yeah,
not
he
like
just
your
got like a
average-
retainer. He's like at Harvard teaching like something like that.
Harvard?
Look up where Lupe Fiasco teaches. You pick up your phone now. I'm sorry.
We're fucking
Jamie, pull
Yeah.
it up.
I got you.
Yeah, he's like, imagine Lupe Fiasco. You go into college and like Lupe Fiasco's your hip hop studies professor.
Yeah, those are credits you need.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy.
John
Hopkins,
Not even close.
Harvard, John Hopkins.
Hey, it's still good. It's a prestigious
It's a good
school.
It's a great school,
But it's
yeah.
not Harvard.
I mean, my list of prestigious schools I even know the name of.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Like Yale, Harvard,
Johns Hopkins.
John Hopkins. Yeah, John Hopkins is.
That's not Ivy League, though, I don't think. That's not Ivy League.
It is.
John Hopkins is considered one of the Ivy League schools.
I believe
I
so.
think it's like a very like.
I
Well,
know
look
it's
at
a good
this.
school, but
Lupe is going to be teaching a class at MIT. Rap theory and practice. It's the syllabus.
It's funny you can get credits for that though. I mean, how is that useful?
Yeah, that's probably
It doesn't matter. It's like a couple $100 you get to go like see Lupe lecture on hip hop every week.
Dude, you can get credits for a lot of bullshit nowadays.
Well, that's my point.
Like,
Are they doing that to like, hey, come to our school? We got Lupe.
Yeah. Meanwhile, all the kids that are enrolled in college are like,
no idea who Lupe is.
Right? Lupe, what? Fiasco.
But that's even like my time at Brooklyn College for my MFA. It was I had Archie Rand and Vito Acconci. Neither of those ring a bell, right? No, super famous artists during the Andy Warhol period in New York.
Mm-hmm.
You're by your firehouse.
Yeah.
The that crazy subway.
Oh yeah, you told me.
Is made by Vito designed that. But even I went in there and I have like a decent grasp of art history, and I'm like, I don't know who these guys are. And they're like, it's this city school, cheap, like affordable thing, and it's this really like famous, important artist who's been in the MoMA just teaching your class at like the regular school. So that's what's gonna happen for Lupe. It's gonna be some random bozos, and they're like, oh yeah, okay,
oh, kick push. All right,
sounds cool. You used to skateboard.
Yeah. What were your songs? Yeah, there were a couple artists like that during that time, but
when we were like
around 2000,
yeah,
that turn period, because 90s hip hop was all very similar.
Mm-hmm.
It was all very like, the whole gangster rap scene and all that, and then like 2000s came around. That's where you got a lot of conscious hip hop.
I was gonna say, does like Kanye fit into there? Yes,
but he was 2000s. He didn't come out until after. He wasn't in the 90s, Kanye.
No, 2000s.
But he was. But same Kanye. He was also a new style.
Yeah, and it was conscious. It was
conscious. Yeah.
He had a backpack on and a polo shirt.
Yeah.
But Kanye was like producing really sick albums before he ever rapped.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure he produced.
Beats.
Yeah, he produced the Blueprint.
He did, yeah. But that's still 2000. No, that's not the 90s. I don't think he produced much in the 90s. When 2000s came around is when he started producing big albums with Jay-Z and all that, and then he started coming out with his own albums.
This is where our age is gonna because for us, I wasn't really listening to hip hop till 2000 or 1999, right? I was 5th or 6th grade is when I really started thinking about it.
Probably, definitely when the Slim Shady album came out. That was 98.
Yeah.
So at least since 98, I want to say.
No, because we were listening to like DMX before that, I think.
No, dude.
Right? Rough Riders.
What year did Rough Riders Anthem come out?
Like
96,
97.
Yeah,
we listened to Biggie, or did we listen to Biggie after the fact later?
I don't.
But it's also like I didn't really listen to music till 5th.
Rest in peace.
The end of 5th grade or 6th grade. I feel like you're not interested. I'm sure someone is, but I don't think I was in like 3rd grade listening to anything.
So that's where
personally.
I used to listen to Hot 97 on my flashlight radio. It was a big yellow radio that was also a flashlight.
Sick.
It had an antenna that came up. Took 2D batteries. I used to listen to like whatever was on, but you had no internet. I had no internet, no cable, like no way to reference. I was just like,
that flashlight radio was your only.
That was it. That was my only access to the outside world.
Yeah, I tried to pinpoint like when I really got interested in music, and it was when I started watching TRL when I was like 9, because I remember vividly all the top music videos on TRL. I would come home and it would come on right after I got home from school.
Yeah,
so I would come home.
It was TRL.
It came on at 3:00.
And then later when we started listening to hip hop, it was like TRL, then 106 at Park.
Yeah, also. but just to get into music in general, because that's what got me into Korn, Limp Bizkit. They were on TRL. Blink 182. All those albums came out the same year. Enema of the State, Significant Other, and Follow the Leader was all like the same year.
And it was all video. You're just watching videos.
Well, what else? It's
That
either
was, like,
that or
how
listen to
you-
the radio, but I don't even know if I knew what Hot 97 was at that point, or K-Rock. Man, I remember listening to K-Rock.
Yeah, if you don't know about flashlight radio, you're at the mercy of your family putting the radio on the car.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like
But I'm saying before
you had real
that,
freedom with that flashlight radio.
I had so much freedom.
before that, I only listened to whatever my parents played, which was 104.3 classic rock. Was the only thing I knew up until those days where you discover MTV and TRL, and then you and I remember it was like Britney Spears.
Dude,
NSYNC,
what's pretty
and
messed
stuff,
up is
that
if you
whole-
listen to that classic rock radio right now, it's gonna play like Blink 182 and The Offspring and
Well,
shit.
that was my thing. They play Nirvana, and I'm like, you gonna call Nirvana classic rock? I
Yeah.
feel like classic rock.
But
You're like,
if
well,
you
yeah,
do
as
the
time
math-
goes on, that becomes classic. I'm like, that's not how I look at it, though. I look at it as a certain time
Yeah,
period.
that's because we don't want to be old.
Yeah, like the beginning of.
Yeah,
That's
it
we-
was 60s, 70s rock. Like, once
But
you go
then you
even
could
into
call-
the 80s, maybe a little bit, but
But then you could call like Elvis Presley classic rock.
no, that's 50s. I don't call it classic rock. I don't.
So you call it like classic rock anything from the 60s to
60s,
the 80s?
70s rock, and a little bit into the
Little bit
80s.
of
like
the 80s.
maybe I would consider Van Halen.
Or you
like
just
classic
call it
rock.
80s like
Or
hair
would you
band.
call the Smiths classic rock? I mean,
I mean, it sure feels like it. It's in every movie and every restaurant I walk into now.
yeah, but
like
it's
this
just a different. It's a
nostalgic-
different. It's like a different feel to it. It doesn't have that same feel as that 60s and 70s rock did. Now they play Green Day. I'm like, cool, Green Day classic rock. That's
They're
cool.
just going off a time frame of anything over 25 years old.
Probably.
It's just like
I
cars.
just don't agree with
you know?
it. I just don't like
Historic.
that.
Yeah, I don't like it either because it coincides with how much gray I have in my beard.
It's not even that. Listen, call me old for knowing that music. That's fine, but like, I always associated that music, that classic rock genre, with that era, and now you're like moving the goalposts, and like, I don't know that it's not really a genre anymore. Now you're just talking about an era. It's like, you say 90s as it's an era. So now classic rock is just an infinite era that never ends.
Yeah, like it's like in 2060, the music from 2030 is going to be classic rock.
Right. Like, can you just keep doing that?
I don't think so.
That's how I felt. I felt you couldn't just keep saying that once it hits a certain point, it becomes classic rock.
But 80s music does
That's how
feel
I felt
pretty
about it.
old.
What, 80s?
80s rock.
80s is old, but I still, like I said, some of the bands in the 80s I would associate with classic rock, but not all of them. Like, maybe I'd associate Guns N' Roses and, like I said, Van Halen and stuff like that. I don't know, and then like once you get into like 80s punk, you're gonna consider that like classic rock. I just thought classic.
What about
rock,
like
man.
Metallica? Would you call Metallica classic rock?
No. I never.
The radio does.
Yeah,
But then
no,
again,
no.
like, who gives a shit about the radio anymore?
No, I don't listen to
It's
radio.
like you just
anyway.
listen to music.
But just using it in terms like, oh, classic rock bands. Or they're like, oh, like Green Day. Like, no. That's not what I was referring to.
They played Blink
Different
182, and I'm
sound.
like, yo, I'm like,
Did they?
really upset.
104.3 played Blink 182?
I don't know. I was in Florida, so it's whatever.
But it was a classic rock station. That's wild.
Yeah, they played Blink 182. They played The Offspring. They played. I was just like, this. No, it's not.
That's funny. Yeah, I couldn't have said
It becomes an age thing. I mean, I'm around at work. It's like I'm around 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds all the time. They
They
think
don't
the
even listen to
80s.
music.
They hear I'm born in '89. They're like,
Well, you
Oh my
always
God,
say they couldn't.
like-
They have no perception.
There's
of
no
time,
perception
so they
of
don't-
time
they
at
like,
all.
How old am
they
I?
think I'm
They're like
19.
90.
They think I'm 55.
15.
They don't know.
Yeah, so I get anywhere between 13 and 85.
Yeah, but like pre-2000 is like, you have these people walking around now. I mean, there's 25-year-olds born in the year 2000.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah,
really crazy.
yeah.
It's really crazy. Getting old. No other way to cut it.
It happens.
That
Yeah,
happens.
but I mean, that's why I still like to do new music, right? We did Balloonerism, it just came out. We're not only doing old music.
No, it's true.
There are some guys on the internet that like only do they like focus mainly on like
People
70s.
do their
80s.
era.
Yeah.
Like,
They can only talk about their era. It's
But
like,
are
well,
they
what about
pulling,
this album?
like-
It just came out. They're like, whoa.
Are they pulling like obscure music from the 70s and 80s, like non-mainstream?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many episodes could you do on the mainstream before you got to start digging
Pulling
a
random
little
records.
deeper?
Yeah, no. I mean, I just read this whole thing about cars, like car value, and how that coincides with age too. Where like now stuff from like everybody's gonna want when they get to like their 40s and 50s and they have money, they're gonna want like the cars that they couldn't have when they were 18, right?
Oh, that's the nostalgia.
That's like how like kind of, and then
doesn't work with me.
Some things are like grandfathered in, like they'll always be like the
67 Shelby G.
like perfect forever, right?
Fast,
but like it's cheaper now to get like stuff from the 30s and 20 like Model Ts and Model A's. Like there's not a huge market for people that want them anymore, so the value actually drops a little bit because. Well, like, people don't want those cars. They're not like a bunch of like guys like, oh, I remember you used to hot rod those in the 40s. They're all dead. So, and nobody wants those cars anymore. Now people want 80s and 90s cars, and all that Fast and the Furious stuff is shooting up in value.
90s stuff?
90s stuff
so
is
like
worth
Toyota?
mad money now.
Like
a super crazy Skyline's crazy.
Those always were worth a lot of money though.
Yeah, but it's like now it's like getting to an unattainable price.
But weren't the whole thing with Supers like you couldn't even buy them in the U.S. to begin with?
25-year rule, just like the oldie station. You can't import anything you can't put anything on the road.
You should have kept that Z car.
I know the Z cars. I look at them on Facebook now. It's like 11. Well, now it's like 11 grand instead of $3 grand, and I'm like, oh damn! I didn't even know I had a car.
Well, that's just inflation. Anyway.
Yeah, you've been in the Z. It was
the black Z.
The black Z. 87.
Yeah, you should have never gotten it.
I didn't know what I was doing at all. Like the water.
And the Jeep. You should have kept the Jeep.
I know, I had like a bunch of sick old cars. I'm like, oh, whoa.
Like every car you had was way cooler than any car I ever had.
I've been really specific. I had a smart car. That wasn't very cool. That was pretty bad.
How many different cars do you think you've had?
Not that many.
Why'd you have a smart car?
Like wait. That's way more than I've ever had.
Jeep.
Why'd you have a smart car?
Because
for fun.
They had a parking was hard at work, but they had a deal, no money down, $100 a month, electric only smart car. When they first brought them to the U.S. at Mercedes, I went there. I was one of like they brought 20 of them over here.
Yeah,
signed it. Nobody went. But
waited outside.
They were like, "Do you want 20?
No
do you want 20, sir?"
Dude, for
want another one?
3 years, I didn't pay for gas. The electric was like plugging your phone in, and you could go in the HOV lane with the smart car.
Yeah, and piss everybody off.
Yeah, it was great.
Your max speed.
And it was like a go-kart. So yeah, I had that, and 2 Tacomas. And a Celica.
No, what about the Japanese race car? What was that? The little pickup. The Subaru? Was it a Toyota? What was it? You were driving on the right side.
Oh yeah, the Sandbar, the Subaru Sandbar.
Still was a Subaru.
Yeah, that was cool. I have a lot of cars.
Do you still have them?
No, I have a Celica now.
Oh, nice.
74.
Oh right, that's the.
That thing's friggin' sick. The mirrors on the front, on the hood.
What about the El Camino you bought for my father?
Yeah, I had it for like 2 weeks.
Was it the El Camino or the Americano?
No, it was not an El Camino. It was what was their?
It was a
GMC
Americano.
But it was a GMC.
Yeah.
Americano, yeah.
I took it home. I made it to the gas station at the end, and it died. Right before the highway. And then, finally got it running and got it home. Drove it for like a week, and then I looked underneath, and the whole bottom was like completely rusted out. But I probably should have just sold it back to Steve. I feel so bad about that. And it had Rob's black book with all his rhymes in it.
You never give it back to him?
No, I think I did.
Oh, okay.
I didn't throw it away.
I remember it when Rob had that car.
But it had like the fuzzy dice, and I opened the thing, and I'm like, it's like Rob's raps. I'm like, this is sick.
That's
this is like, this car is gangster.
I just hit the lottery.
It's about to start my rap career.
How much are your raps worth to you?
Shit.
He's still making music, right?
Yeah, he's got a new album coming out. He's recording. He's got a few tracks recorded.
Are you gonna have him on the podcast?
I'm trying. We're trying to work out a time. He originally said he was gonna do it, and then he's like, I can't find time. And then I just talked to him a couple days ago. He said we were gonna work out a date. We're gonna try to when all the kids are asleep. That's the thing. You can't. It's hard to do when the kids are awake.
You gotta get them all here in feed him and cut a
it's,
movie on
it's
it.
just got to be like he's got to put the kids to bed and then drive over here and then drive back. The kids go to bed at like 8. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's just it's a lot. So once we work that out, and then my dad's gonna come on eventually, hopefully.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, he's. It's funny. He was bugging me about it when I first started this. He's like, "Well, can I come on?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, whatever." And he's like, "All right." He's like, "I got albums I can pick." I'm like, "All right, yeah." I'm like, we'll set it up. Give me an album. We'll set it up. And I come back to him like whatever a month later. I'm like, "You want to come on? Yeah, you got to give me an album. We got to set this up." And he's like all nervous about it. He's like, "Well, I don't know. I was thinking. I don't know that much." I'm like, it's not that serious. I'm not gonna quiz you. Like, he's like, "Well, I don't know. What are you gonna X me stuff? I don't know the answer." I'm like, "It's not.
It's
not like that."
Just pick something you like this.
Like,
I get excited about this.
I don't invite people on just to slam dunk on them for 2 hours.
Yeah, so what don't you know about this?
You didn't know that, loser.
Like, this dude didn't listen to 3 out of the 4 albums. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't listen to it.
Goes,
not one song, not a
I've
single
done this
fucking
before.
song."
I've done this before, guys. You don't even have to listen to the album.
Yeah, it's easy. Just talk. Change the subject.
It's like,
Listen,
we're talking about classic cars.
I'm gonna go on a Comic-Con rant for about 20
You
minutes.
guys-
I'll leave it most of the time.
You guys
We
want to
don't
talk
even
about
worry
Star
the
Wars?
albums.
Yeah.
We talked about sleep for an hour the first time I was on. We had to cut
Well, we
that
really
shit
put it to
out.
the test on that one.
Yeah.
My editing took forever on that one. It was ridiculous.
Hell yeah.
So can I take another bathroom break? I'm like, that's the 4th one. You're killing me with the editing.
That reminds me.
The bathroom break.
We don't have to stop because he's here, so you could go take a bathroom break.
But I wanted him
that's
to
true.
make me another whiskey sour.
Oh, he could do that.
Well, why don't you go to the bathroom? We'll keep talking. Then I'll go over there. Then I'll go to the bathroom.
Don't stress it. It's all right.
Yeah. It's all good. What else can I tell you about MF Doom? Well,
You don't need to tell me.
he's going to do that.
Um,
I'm trying to think of other
they're-
artists that are like just this. I don't know. It just fascinates me. Like the alias thing in art fascinates me.
Yeah.
I think it's just such a interesting idea.
Are you familiar with? So it was funny. I was hoping you were gonna pick Mad Villainy because it's my favorite album.
Yeah, that's the one you like that one better, right?
Well, I mean, listen. I'm a big Madlib fan. I just think he makes ridiculous beats, and I know MF Doom makes a lot of his own beats. Probably did for this album.
But a lot of it's I feel like Madlib was really like producing a lot of that stuff. All that Special Herbs stuff, all the Special Herbs albums that are Madlib like instrumentals are.
Well, no. What I was gonna say is Madlib also did the same thing where he has the Quasimodo albums. You ever hear about that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's like his alias is Quasimodo and does the Further Adventures of Lord Quas and all that stuff. So that's kind of cool. And then he like integrates that in like when he did the collab with Freddie Gibbs when he did Bandana and Pinata. Like you ever see the album cover where he's got the Quasimodo character on the zebra? Freddie Gibbs.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen it. No.
Oh yeah, I mean I have it here. I could show you, but like I even have the Quasimodo. Hold on.
Do you think it's like freeing because it allows you to kind of experiment in a different way when it's not you anymore, and you could jump back and forth? Oh yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah, that's his Quasimodo. Hold on, but I'll find the because I have the Freddie Gibbs for it too. I'll show you what they did. So
You're pretty organized.
This is where he
considering
got
the 1,000 records.
the zebra stuff from.
Yeah.
And then look, so you see, look, he took their collab and he took the Quasimodo character and he put it on the zebra.
Yeah, and that's
right.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Those albums are amazing, by the way. If nobody's listened to those from front to back.
I don't
What's
think
that?
I have.
Oh my God, the Pinata and Bandana.
listen to
It's Freddie Gibbs and
Bandana.
Madlib. Whew.
But this is the whole alias thing is like I keep thinking of like Donald Glover.
Oh, Childish Gambino.
Yeah, because I mean he said something recently where he was like, I guess someone asked him in an interview as he does all these projects, Atlanta and all the various production work he does now.
Have you watched Atlanta?
I love that friggin' show.
Dude, did you see the one with the MF Doom character where he goes on the scavenger hunt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What? But it wasn't MF Doom.
It's not MF Doom
No.
because they can't
You
do
think that's
exact likenesses, right? Like they had one with Michael Jackson that was
the horror
that
one.
was crazy.
That show is like
The MF Doom,
So good.
it's so good.
It's really like
It's so
a
out
piece
there.
of art. It's very strange.
It's
and great.
Yeah.
What
Their
was
time in Amsterdam,
That was
So
tripping, and he was like, "Who
super.
owns my masters?" And he's like, "You do."
Oh, and then the one with the rich family that lives in Manhattan who has like the housekeeper from the islands, and then like you see that it's like the most recent season, but then she passes away, and then they go to her funeral.
Oh yeah,
And like the kid is like more like
In-
West
in-
Indian
yeah,
and
in
like
their culture,
you know,
yeah.
in their culture, and they meet this like there's a random white dude there who has a full accent
My
because she
favorite-
raised him, and it's like, but it was kind of like a ghost story. Like,
My favorite one has to be the Goofy movie one.
which one's that?
That's like the last episode of the last season that came out.
I don't know if I saw the last 2 or 3.
You gotta check it out.
I
So
don't
like
think
the
I
whole
finished
thing's
it.
like a documentary
Yeah.
on the guy who created the Goofy movie, like the Goofy movie from
Yeah.
Disney. But like their play on it is so insane.
Hmm.
They're
Oh,
like
yeah.
obviously like
I
Goofy is an African American single dad.
And that's the concept. That's
Yeah, and
crazy.
it's like the whole thing is like this black dude had the same name as this old white dude, so he got voted in as CEO of like Disney Productions by accident, and he was like, "I'm throwing everything I got into the Goofy movie."
I gotta watch it.
Dude, it's hilarious.
Yeah, they started getting real artsy with their last season. Started
Yeah.
doing a
Yeah,
lot of
they-
concept episodes.
You can
And
tell
I-
he was having a lot of fun, but this is what he said, like to the point of the MF Doom connection. It's like they were like, "Oh, are you gonna do more?" Somebody asked him in an interview, "Are you gonna do more music as Childish Gambino?" And he was kind of like, "Oh, it kind of ran its course for me as an artist. Like I did that."
Yeah,
And it's kind of like he made Childish Gambino so he could rap because he wanted to rap and make music, but then he like did a couple albums and he's like, okay,
Well, he did a lot of different. He did stand up too.
Before you
yeah,
did
but he's
stand-up-
able to experiment by using an alias.
So I remember,
Right.
like when I was in
kind of.
college, I was watching. I think College Humor. Like he was doing College Humor videos.
yeah,
So I remember watching him on YouTube when he was like 18, just doing these sketch comedy videos that were hilarious. Like he's been around for a minute, and
Yes, well, I mean, when did he start Community? That would be like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That was a long time.
he was a
ago.
child star.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of freeing to kind of create work from not even for him because I guess you still know it's him, but like as a graffiti artist, you can like kind of hide behind something and make work, and then you have your regular self and your
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You can get more experimental when you're not like held down by your. I know like artists that do that even with like something very simple like an Etsy store, where they'll make prints and they have a name on their Etsy store that's not tied to their fine artwork, and maybe they're a sculptor and they want to show their work in a more prominent gallery, but they need to make some cash, so they'll do some prints and they have like your name is like Nature's whatever, and they just like sell prints of birds or something.
Right.
But you wouldn't want to tie that to your name for your main work because then it kind of like dilutes your.
Listen, I'm
Your
a
vision.
fan. I'm a fan of the aliases for the sake of it doesn't put you in that box, especially for artists in music. Like I think people should use alias for more than even like we want to do a concept album or anything like that because it separates your work, right? You want to create something that's completely different, but if you use the same name, those people are going to listen to it and be like, "Oh, this isn't. What is this? This is what I was expecting. This is."
Yeah, he doesn't do that,
No.
or she doesn't do that. So like now I'm disappointed by those stuff.
Right.
Whereas you could just be
if
like,
you change the name, people feel like they'll lose the money though. 'Cause
Yeah.
If you're already selling records, under
Yeah, well,
this
you
name,
have, like,
now
a
you
following,
do-
and then
right,
you-
right now it's almost like you're trying to start a new following.
yeah,
But
you're
I think
making
it's
a
worth
new
it
brand. There's no
sometimes
brand identity.
Because as a new name, as a new artist that no one's ever heard before, you get the outlook of I don't know what I'm about to listen to because I've never heard it before.
Yeah, maybe this
There's
will
no
be cool.
expectation, so you could kind of listen to it with a clear mind almost. My comparison album, which I guess you didn't listen to.
That sounds good as a middle one though.
So I picked. So this is what I was talking about when I was saying that you can really see MF Doom's influence on today's hip hop. Even though this album came out a while ago, probably close to 10 years ago now, maybe like 8 years ago. Earl Sweatshirt was one of these guys who took that style, and when I tell you I first heard this album when it came out, I could not understand why people liked it. I was like, I can't listen to this. It's so boring. It's so whatever, you know. And then like as hip hop started to progress and more artists started to pick up the style in it, you kind of like get into it. And I like this happens with everything. I mean, I hated Danny Brown when I first listened to Danny Brown. There's a lot of artists like that.
Dude, Danny Brown's wild.
So good.
Love Danny Brown.
But
all
then
of
you go
country
back and,
music.
when you
No, I'm just saying like things you hate when you first listen. To it.
Oh yeah, no, I
all the
still
time.
hate all country music.
No, Danny's like feeding it to me.
Yeah,
To
he's
get you over
feeding it to
trained
me
with
too. What was it? Metamusic Sounds.
Metamodern Sounds and
Metamodern.
country music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was you know.
Did you listen to it?
I some of it.
Some of it.
I listened to some of it. I still got a journey to go, man. I still got ways
It's all
to
right.
go before.
That's good.
Not easy. No, but this album I think particularly really shows what you can do with that style, and he does a really great job. And now Earl Sweatshirt, I think it was funny. I just read by chance. I came across this searching Earl Sweatshirt stuff. It was like on Twitter or whatever. Somebody in 2015. So I guess this is right after, or a year or two after Good Kid, Mad City came out. Or maybe like right when it came out, I'm not sure, but somebody had asked Kendrick Lamar who his favorite young rapper of today was, and he said Earl Sweatshirt, which is super funny because I think this album came out around that same time, maybe a little bit after. It might have came out. There was an album before this that came out around that time. Yeah, it's funny. He's actually super talented when you actually listen to his rhymes and you know, as a lyricist, I think he's really good. His work, especially on this album, is very comparable to what MF Doom was doing. And there are other guys who doing the same style and doing it very good. Billy Woods is one of those guys that does it very well. But this album is spectacular. If you're into that type of style and you can handle, like I said, I couldn't handle that music when I first started listening to it. And now it's just different. You know, I'm into that type of style now. I appreciate it. I like it. So if you can listen, in my head, if you can listen to MF Doom albums like Moon Food, then you could listen to this type of album and appreciate it. So that's the way I look at it. But it's a unique style. I mean, it's just not what you're going to hear on the radio. You're never going to hear Earl Sweatshirt on the radio. You know, you never heard MF Doom on the radio. It's just the way it works. It's not poppy enough and out there.
Except for driving around.
No, I mean,
Maybe
I
it is.
can.
Maybe
I
we
did. I
can,
mean,
right?
I can. But like I said, it's something that you have to like get accustomed to. You know, your first time you try alcohol, you're not gonna like it, right?
Depends. Sadly.
I mean, that's you know, it's like one of those comparisons. The first time you try something, you might not like it, but it depends. And like I said, it happens with a lot of different things in music. And I'm a victim to it like anybody else. I couldn't stand it when I listened. I couldn't understand why people liked it. It's a really great album.
I like it, but I have to be in the mood for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like you said, the style, it's like very monotone.
Yeah.
It's like a freestyle that became a run-on sentence. Is what I like feel like it's like that's what it sounds like to me. So I have to be in the mood to just listen to that. And if I do, I'll just listen to it straight through. You know, there's no, the ups and downs are in like the poetry of the raps, but not in any kind of like way that he uses his voice. You know what I'm saying? Like a singer, even rappers, right? They could raise, lower their voice. They could speak differently to put like an emphasis on what they're saying. Where you have to actually pay attention to what they're saying to be like, damn, that was heavy, that was good, that was sick. But it's all in the same tone, the same way we talk.
Yeah.
So
It's different, man.
it's like they're talking their raps.
But that was kind of, and I remember like talking about MF Doom to guys like 10 years ago, and they were like, yeah, the guy's good, but like, I don't know, his cadence, it's just weird. I can't get into it. Like, it's kind of true. He does have this very monotone
The trick is to like take MF Doom, throw him into a playlist with other shit, and then like you'll hear it throughout. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
And that's how I have it set up.
One of the
tricks, a full immersion.
One of
the songs in a row kind of situation.
Oh yeah. I don't even like doing that. Like just like listening to a whole bunch of MF Doom for like an hour straight. It's kind of like
It's like you're listening to the same song.
Yeah.
Constantly. Like it really is. Like oh, damn. This is a really... What's New Pussycat is way longer than I realized.
I don't... You kind of wonder if it's like a... I always think about like what your... you're talking about the mood, right? What your mood you're in. Oh, I want to listen to this. And that's like a music thing, right? I want to listen to something that's more hype. But like... There's stoner metal. There's definitely stoner hip-hop.
Yeah, Cypress Hill.
Yeah, and there's like, and I wonder like some of this stuff. It's more like you're in that mode where you're like listening and you're kind of out of it. And you're just like going on a weird journey with the music, and if you're not there, you can't really.
Well, listen. I mean, once you get into it, everything has to
at least
do
in
with
the beginning,
the mood you're in. Right. But
you hear it like that.
Able to hear it, enjoy it, and appreciate it, then obviously you're gonna listen to whatever you feel like listening to. But yeah, and that has a lot to do with it too. Like you tell somebody to listen to something, but if they're not in the mindset for that type of music, they're not going to enjoy it. Like,
yeah, it's not. It's not only that. Like even with this, right? I put all the albums that we have on our list on a playlist, and I played it on a loop over and over and over again. But if you're doing like, it depends, right? If you're not paying attention, if you're doing something, then you're just like hearing music,
right?
And there's a big difference between hearing music and like listening to music, right? And like that's where I'm like 15 minutes before I'm listening to it again, because I'm like, yeah, I heard it. I know about it, but like I couldn't tell you shit about it because I wasn't paying enough attention.
Yeah.
And when you do actually listen to this shit, it's fucking tight.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, it's tough. I mean, that's why it's different. It's so wildly different from like the genre of hip hop you picked, because that's a type of radio hip hop that like will grab your attention. Like you almost can't make it background music because it's so attention grabbing type of music. So it's completely different from this style, which was pretty cool that we're able to do two sides of this. But we'll go into your album. You picked ASAP Rocky's Long.Live.Asap. There you go, look at that.
We'll do a swap. Well, you can put it there.
Yeah, it's fine.
Looking at the camera, it's kind of hard to see all of
Yeah,
it.
you're not gonna see
to be
it.
honest, it's like in the real. There's a nice glare on that one.
Yeah, dude, I remember when this album came out. I mean, this is one of those, and it's funny because this style of hip hop, like I want to say that trap, pop, rap style of hip hop. There's like so much of it that's bad, but the good albums are just so good. And this was like one of those albums where like it's almost like they generate this style of hip hop for the radio and it sounds like garbage, and then somebody's like, well, I'm gonna make it good, and then you got him come and make this album. You're like, okay, this is how it's this genre of hip hop is supposed to sound.
It's what everyone like should strive for, right? Always strive and prosper, right?
Yeah.
So it's what you should strive. Like every song on this album, I think is sick. Like there's a few hit songs, but I feel like every song on the album is sick. There's like features from Joey Badass, right? Danny Brown's One Train has like fucking
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick, yeah, it's
Kendrick and Drake on the same track.
Wild. It was a different time. 2013, I think.
Things have shifted.
Yeah. Now he's out here just embarrassing them in front of football stadiums and nations.
It's a hard watch.
I was like, I watched that and I'm like, it's not just the stadium, but I feel like everybody watching was like, A minor. That's who won. Like,
my friend asked me before it started, they're not going to let him play Not Like Us. I'm like, they can't. I can't let him diss Drake in front of the world. He's just gonna call Drake a pedophile in front of everybody alive. I'm like, I don't think they could do that. And then they started the song. I'm like, well, there it goes.
I think it's a publicity stunt.
I feel like he wouldn't.
Even if it is, it still makes Drake look terrible either way. I mean,
but it gets them in the forefront of your mind. Like,
yeah.
That's the one thing, like, with my job that I know that if you stay relevant in someone's mind, like, in anything in sales or whatever, if you stay relevant, people got you in their mind.
Right.
People know who you are.
They keep coming
Like,
back.
like the oldest things, like no publicity, no publicity is bad publicity. Bad publicity is still publicity, right? Like,
Right.
you still know Drake and Kendrick. It's been going on for like a year.
I know, it's pretty crazy.
And like, he lost in the beginning. Like, we know Kendrick won, but it's still going, and people are like, "Oh, what's he gonna do next?" Not much. There's not much you can do.
Maybe
we were watching MTV Cribs episode of 50 Cent. Have you ever seen that?
no, maybe.
Maybe.
So he bought Mike Tyson's house.
Do you know
I think
why?
I don't know why.
In Connecticut?
Yeah, in Connecticut.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So you see, so it's funny. You
been a long
forget because I
time.
haven't seen the episode 20-something years. His whole thing was he was in a beef with Kanye West at the time. This is when Kanye had like one album out.
Yeah.
So the whole time
He just hates
he's
Kanye.
just dissing Kanye West. Like
Yeah.
throughout the whole house, just making comments about Kanye West.
No shit.
He's the funniest ever, 50 Cent.
That's awesome.
I'm like, I don't even remember the beef. Like, what was the beef?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
No.
He was just going at everybody.
I mean, this was post his movie, after his movie came. Oh, it was right before or right after.
Get Rich or Die
Get
Trying.
Rich or Die Trying? Or?
No, but there was an
Good
album
movie.
either coming out or it just came out. Curtis, the album Curtis.
Okay.
So it was around that time period. So I don't know what album Kanye West was at this time, but they both kind of came up at the same time. I want to say Kanye's album and Get Rich or Die Trying probably came out around the same time. So they probably both came up around the same time period.
What, College Dropout? Was it
Yeah.
College Dropout?
Yeah.
It came out in like, I don't know, I was still living on the island when they came out. So
Yeah, it had to be 02, maybe 03.
02, 03.
I think like the publicity thing, though, to your point of that is like, I know I said it. Oh, maybe it's a publicity stunt, but like, someone like Drake, like who probably has a pretty big ego and is very rich, wouldn't want. You got to draw the line somewhere. I don't think you'd want, no matter how much money it makes you.
Well,
people
he's suing
think you're
him.
sleeping with a minor.
He's suing him? He said
Yeah.
that?
He is suing him for
like
not like us. Like, for sure.
I don't
He's
think he
litigating
would want
for
that. Like, it's
disrespect.
not worth the front of mind thing at that point. It's like
Yeah. It's
a bad
defamation,
look.
Right?
It's defamation.
I don't know.
I guess. I
He's
don't know
not-
what's defamation in the United States in 2025. You can say whatever the hell you want about anybody.
That's
It's like,
definitely true.
you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
But Drake
I don't
is
know.
Canadian, and they have a different view on things.
it's true. Well, for
Yeah,
now,
but
that'll be our territory soon.
Greenland first. Relax. Yeah, I don't know how that works. You can make a diss track. It's been going on forever. Nobody's ever got sued for defamation, and people have said some really horrible stuff in diss tracks.
Either. Like Nas.
Yeah,
Either.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was it.
I mean, that's like the ultimate like beef. Like
No, because
that I think about. Well, I
you got
guess Tupac and
Biggie, who
It's
shot you.
they're both dead. So like that was a really bad.
Nobody
beef.
really won. So
Yeah, it's like it was.
Should have sued him.
Yeah, who shot you? Yeah, but like that either is like crazy.
Either's fucking sick.
I say that.
I mean, there's a lot of diss tracks out there.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot.
I
Like,
don't remember anyone.
No
calling him a
Vaseline?
pedophile.
Do you remember No Vaseline?
Yes, I remember.
No,
that.
who did that?
That's
one?
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Yeah.
I don't
When he
remember that.
split
One.
with
Against
NWA.
Eazy-E, right?
Yeah,
Him and Eazy-E.
against Eazy-E and the manager.
Right.
It's just what they did back then. It was just like
Yeah, he was just. I
But
mean, 'cause
also
they're-
the other thing is like Kendrick Lamar's not making any money off Not Like Us. It's not on any of his albums. He's not selling it. It was just a track he put out. You can't buy it.
Yeah, but it gets.
yeah, but like
it gets.
being the winner of that makes him like a god. Like he's
No, I get that, but I mean,
I think they make money off of streams too. He's performing it at every single concert. People are going to concerts to hear him perform.
yeah, but
that
at a
song.
concert, you're allowed to perform whatever. You can cover a song. You don't have to pay anybody. You're not making any money off it because it's not recording.
No, and you're not on social media, but like every
So
social
think about it
media
like this.
song has like an A minor like background.
You're looking
I
at
know,
it. You're
I
looking at
know.
it the same way
So
that
that's got to make something.
that records used to work, where someone makes a song, you put it on an album, people go out and buy that album,
And then that's how you make money.
and that's how you make money. And it's not like that. It's like you make money on the merchandise you sell, your touring, your appearances, just being in the public eye. I mean, rappers make money the same way basketball and football players and golfers, like, you make money off of sneakers and merch and shit. You make more money off of that than you would putting a CD out.
Didn't he just beat a case?
Yeah, weapons
And
charge.
he got signed by Ray-Ban as their creative director. Because he wore Ray-Bans to the case. He had these gold rim Ray-Bans on. He wore them to the case. And Ray-Ban was like, sick.
Like I said, dude,
Like,
publicity is bad
Publicity, yo, like,
publicity.
what is he doing for creative director?
I'm
It's a
pretty
couple
sure it
photo
was like
shoots?
automatic weapons charges firing at
No,
people.
creative,
Yeah, and he's like-
creative director is probably like, hey, how do you like these? Garbage.
Yeah, like,
Hey, how
is
do
he
you
gonna
like these?
design, right? He's
Good.
gonna, like,
That's
draw
creative
Ray-Bans?
director. He's,
Well,
not,
that's
he's
pretty-
not designing them.
I think he thinks.
But he got that job because of the
Which is
case.
wild.
You know, like, that's a big
Which is
Ray-Ban. Like,
It's actually probably not a bad move, though. I mean, if they're setting the trends, why not pay them to set the trends in your favor? You
for
know?
sure.
I
That's
mean,
marketing.
He looked
No, I
cool in
know.
those Ray-Bans, man. He looks like a J.
But I'm saying I'm surprised you don't see it more often. Like, if you're
I
looking...
think you do. You just don't see it.
Okay, maybe.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
true.
Like-
You just don't know that this guy's... Yeah, it's true. Could be.
It's just it's actually a perfect example with the whole Kendrick thing, though. It's like that publicity yields so much more monetary value.
Like, my question is
in
this,
other
and
weird
it's,
ways,
It's,
like-
it's pretty
Not for
simple. Would he?
Drake's not.
Would he?
Drake goes to jail.
Would he have been performing at the Super Bowl had that not happened this year?
I mean, I didn't think of it like that. Listen, I look at Kendrick Lamar in a completely different
No.
light. So
The answer's
We look at
probably
Kendrick
no.
as like a sick lyricist,
I think
awesome
Leonard's the
rapper,
GOAT. I don't even think there's anyone better than him.
but at
But
the
would
end
he
of
have
the
got
day,
that gig if
I
he
don't know.
wasn't
Mainstream.
so relevant now?
I don't know. Yeah,
Right?
that's my point. I
He
don't know.
was relevant for social media.
Yeah.
And those sound bites are playing all the time. So when you have something like the Super Bowl, which is a cash grab,
Right.
this is the person that's on every TikTok, every Instagram video. You choose him. How much do you get paid for a Super Bowl?
I'll let you know next time I do.
A couple $1 million.
I think it's a couple $1 million just to have like 30 seconds of airtime. Which
I-
Kanye
It's
had.
got to be like
Honestly,
$30 million.
But how much do they have to pay them? Because why wouldn't you want it? That's the.
Oh, because it's like it's more like it feels
it's
like an
helping them
honor.
more than anything
It's
else.
an
You
honor.
ain't gonna do anything for free. Like, once you're making
No, but,
millions
like-
for anything, you're not doing shit for free.
Yeah, but the exposure. You can't get better exposure than that. What better piece of exposure could you get other than this?
Every American
TikTok.
sees you. You know how many people, like all my
Everyone.
dad's friends, everyone, like
Everyone.
they don't know
I
who
mean,
he is.
Well, he probably didn't win many people over.
But what's wild,
Nope. But
what's wild is, like, you look at the viewership of the Super Bowl and you look at like the amount of views on just a YouTube video with him, like, or the music video for Not Like Us or whatever. It's more, right? Because the Super Bowl is like an American pastime, American thing. Like, Not Like Us is all fucking worldwide shitting on Drake.
so
Like,
you think
everybody.
I think social media has branched
more
artists-
people heard Not Like Us
before they even saw the Super Bowl.
than the amount of people that watch the Super Bowl? Which
Yeah,
number do you think is higher?
Absolutely.
You think more people in the world have heard
Mhm.
Not Like
Absolutely.
Us
Because it's
than
like
the amount of people who watch the
100%.
Super Bowl?
Because it's a TikTok background sound.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
I would say
'Cause-
if
They
you-
don't
if
even
you
know what
did-
they're hearing. But they're
exactly,
hearing.
that's my
Yeah.
But how does that help him? If you just
But
hear
it's
a
not-
tiny
it's not-
clip of a track,
I don't know. Maybe he gets a royalty from that.
I
I have
don't
no
think so.
idea.
I don't
Like
think
probably not, right?
Who?
If you
Kendrick.
use the piece of Not Like Us for a
Yeah.
background
You
on
do
a
a little
TikTok,
dance.
he's not
Yeah,
gonna
there
pay
you
for
go.
that.
I don't think so.
No, that's why
No.
my point. They don't know what they're listening to. It's just a catchy little clip that
Yeah.
somebody takes and
Do a little dance.
nah, 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 nah.
Yeah, it's like all that.
Everybody, like,
A car video, you know. It's all
drive by
that's-
your horns like,
They were doing it with the song off GNX. What's the name of the song now? But they took that piece, the mustard. You
Mustard!
Mustard!
Yeah, because he yells.
Dude, DJ Mustard's been around for a while too, but like I feel like he's blown up a lot more
I feel like there was another one.
since that album.
Yeah.
Well, there's Crazy, Spooky, Scary, Hilarious. Crazy, Spooky, Scary.
Oh, yeah.
Lefty Gunplay. That's his whole verse.
That's his whole verse.
That was the best he could do, I think.
Who were the
Don't.
features on that album? Jeez.
I don't know, and like it blows my mind because if you look into Lefty Gunplay, I'm like, how the fuck did that happen?
It had to be like his friends or something.
I wouldn't.
Every feature on that album was nobody ever heard of these guys before. Unless he was just like, screw it, I bet you I could put out an album with no features that anyone's ever heard and it's still solid.
It would be sick, yeah.
Unless he was like, I bet you I could get these people to pay me to feature. Like usually you pay someone to feature on an album, right? Like it's like, I bet I could take some money off.
I didn't realize how like a lot of these artists like Eddie's friend, my good friend that I grew up with, his friend is like he does rap. He lives in Florida now, but he's from Staten Island. And he recently like put a video up where he has Method Man as like Method Man has a whole verse on his song.
Mm-hmm.
So me, I don't know anything about how the business works. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, what a come up. You like called Method Man and did a collaboration. And then apparently it's you paid like $10,000 for the verse.
Yeah, for the feature. Right.
And then you get the feature.
Yeah.
So
And then
it's
you
like,
pay more if you want them in a video.
yeah, and it's like the friggin' single has like both of them like, and I'm like,
my brother
yeah.
was talking about that. He was
I'm like, that's pretty crazy. You know,
was-
It's
Well-
what they all do it, and the bigger you are, the more you charge. So, like
right.
to get Lil Wayne to do like 16 bars is probably like $500,000.
yeah, but like I think
Maybe.
Method Man's like 10 grand or something crazy, like,
Which is bullshit, because Method Man's sick.
right? Like imagine I'd be like, I'm
Yeah,
about
but
to
10
put out
grand
some
for
But
one
10 grand
verse?
for, like-
How long does it take for him to do that in a day?
Well, like you found
song
Rob's
with
rap
Method
book.
Man. Like, it's
You found Rob's rap book. Like you could take one verse and be like, "Here's 10 grand. Here's 10 grand." Like rappers just have bars for days in notebooks,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, 10 grand. Here you go, kid. Enjoy."
I was gonna say.
But actually
I'll send it to
performing
you
it and
through
recording
Zoom.
it, like, yeah. I don't know, it just seems like a crazy.
And all you do is like I feel like most artists, like the way most people at podcasts have studios set up, I feel like most artists at this point would have a studio set up where they could go from their bedroom down to their basement, spit a verse that they had written down, put it on a thumb drive, send it to someone, and make 10 grand like that.
I was gonna say they probably never even meet the person.
Well, that was the thing he said. From what I heard about the story was, he ended up talking. Method Man called him after and was like, "Oh, song's sick," like, you know, whatever,
Oh, okay.
like giving him some endorsement. But it's like
Yeah,
there was
probably.
they didn't even communicate initially during the purchasing. It was like your agent does it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm sure the agents have an agreement where it's like
Well-
he needs to approve what song he's going on.
Yeah,
So
like
you're
it
not going
goes
on
in some
fucking
trash, like
bullshit.
It's like me making a rap song.
Yeah,
It
but
was
you
like,
think- I mean,
I
if they're
think
willing
they
to
do.
pay, what difference does it make? They paid the money, you know?
It makes a
I mean,
difference.
yeah, but it
'Cause
doesn't.
what if it's some
ruin your name? Like,
Yeah, what if it's some crazy
No,
bullshit?
because if it's garbage, nobody's listening to it anyway.
No, I'm talking about like what if it's some crazy shit?
yeah, you do some like crazy
Like some fucking white
Okay.
power rap group.
yeah. Then you just,
And then like you don't even know what Method
Yeah.
Man's into.
you see
shit.
Method Man's new KKK song that came out the other day. He was with on the Grand Dragon album.
Well, they probably have something in the clause where, like, we have to listen to it before you.
That's what I'm
put it
saying,
out or
like,
something.
Whoever's putting it, like whoever's
Like,
obviously-
there's probably a contract that's written out,
Yeah.
right? Like, listen, we're gonna give you 10 grand, and like, we'll give you the but we have to, before anything gets released, we have to okay it.
approve it. Yeah, I would. I mean, shit.
They just cut it apart and
You
take
fucking end up on
mix
a
your words around, make you say whatever you want.
fucking end up on a menopause commercial or some shit.
Yeah, right. Just some crazy stuff. This
It's like what the
propaganda.
hell? Brought to you by Pfizer.
10 grand is 10 grand.
That's it. You gotta make that money. You do a couple of those, you're done.
You do one of those a week, you're looking good.
Quick Pfizer commercial. Hold on, how much is that little weight?
It's like just read the side effects method. Just
Yeah,
read
right.
the side effects.
Well, no, I was gonna say you could ask Yeba because ASAP Rocky was on her album.
It's true.
She had the ASAP Rocky feature.
Who is Yeba?
She's a singer, but she's really good friends with my fiance, and she does lots of. She was on an album with Drake. Yeba's song
She was on,
is her.
It's
That's her.
Yeba's Heartbreak.
Yeba's Heartbreak.
Oh,
She's her.
it's
Yeah.
Certified Lover Boy. That album. She was on that album.
But she does so much stuff with everyone. You know, like it's insane.
Nice.
But a lot of the times, at least from what I've seen with her, when I've been around, the few times I've been around her with the other people she makes music with, like she does stuff at Blue Note, and like they're all communicating with each other when it's like artist to artist like that, where they're like, oh, like can you sing on this, and they're like recording as a group and they send each other stuff, but it's less like you're buying this. Or I'm sure there's like a money exchange, but they're like doing stuff together. It's not just like.
I feel like depending on your level of stardom is like how you're gonna collaborate with people, right?
Yeah.
Because in the beginning,
sure.
like think about like what we know about Wu-Tang, right? They were just fucking hanging out, making music, trying to make it. Like, but now it's like, I don't know. You know, I don't know personally, right? But they could be like, yeah, let's get on this album or let's do this album. All right, like here's my contract. This is what I'm looking to make, like for 5 features on this album or something. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I think when you're hungry, you're open to more in the world. And when you're up there, you got agents, managers, lawyers, like, everybody's going to take over for you and be like, hey, you know, if you want this person's stardom or whatever, it's going to cost.
Right.
Yeah, and depending on, like, I know at least with her, like, she has her own. She's had full control over her contract, so she's not like at the mercy of a record company, which has helped her career. But it's kind of like a riskier move because you're able to like just do your, you know, put out what you want to put out, collab with who you want to collaborate with. And you can end up being irrelevant then. But if it's then or the opposite, where her like when she puts something out, it's like Frank Ocean. She's like, I would compare her to Frank Ocean, though, because like Frank Ocean doesn't put stuff out, but when they put something out, you're like, oh my god, like everyone's waiting for it. And like when I saw her at Center Stage last summer, and it was like, I mean, the crowd was just, I mean, everyone was so excited to see her perform and sing. Like, I mean, it was amazing. Like, people are so engrossed because the work is still very true to her vision. Like, no one's modeling her work at all. Like, it's her music.
Yeah.
You know, there's no outside influence. Do this song, change that, whatever. It's like her art, and it's good, and people want to hear it. But then, I don't know, like money, I don't know how it works with that stuff. Somebody gives me 10 grand, I'm doing anything.
Well, that's the funny part.
I'll do anything.
Bet.
But I'm
What do
saying,
you want me to say?
in her scenario, it's weird, right? Because she's the feature on Drake's album, so Drake would have to pay her.
Yeah, because like as a
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but it's almost like you could say, like, I'll give you nothing and you could be a feature on my album, and I'd be like,
And
sure!
now you're on Drake's album, and it's like,
Right,
and when he put that out, he was like the biggest.
Right.
But then, like, for him, like, in that community, because now it's like, you know how artists always have, like, Kendrick's loves Earl Sweatshirt, right? Even though he's more famous than him. And it's like, in that community, I know that Yeba is very respected by these people, like, someone like Drake, like, really, they look to her as, like, authentic and real, and it's like, they really respect her.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's like they look to these other artists that are coming up with like some sort of nostalgia for what it was like when they were coming up?
Maybe. Or maybe it's like they have more creative license because they're not so connected to a record label, so they're making music that's like more real.
So they're more malleable on what they can do on your album.
True, and also it's like you're not envious, but it's also like you're like.
No, I'm not saying envious. I'm saying
but it's like
nostalgic. Like, oh shit,
I remember. Imagine I was able to.
Let me help this person out. Let me give them a shot.
Yeah.
They're gonna put everything they got into it because this matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, hey, it's 50 grand for me to be on your track. Like, we'll set it up.
But I think a lot of it has to do with talent on her part. She has a very genuine sound. Like she's like a soul singer, but she's got a very old school, genuine sound that you can't really find.
Like an
in
Amy
soul
Winehouse style, like soul blues.
She
Yeah,
comes from like the
it's-
church, like she learned in a
Yeah, she's got a
singing at
feel
church.
of a very old school, like genuine feel to her music that you really can't find in that many. Like, I mean, I listen to a lot of R&B and soul singers and stuff. It's very different. Her sound is very unique in comparison to a lot. For her debut album, I mean, I think she did an amazing job with it.
Yeah, she's
good.
a beast. She's incredible.
You gotta send me that info. I'll check it out.
No, for sure, you'd love her. I mean, but yeah, she always all these guys.
Yeah, she had A$AP Rocky on her album as a feature on one of her songs.
That's wild.
Crazy, right?
Because they're all like in the same, like when we go, she's been doing a residency at the Blue Note every year.
Oh yeah.
So we went
a yearly residency.
Well, what is his name? Glassberg.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Charles
Glasper, right? Isn't
Glasper.
it the Glasper experiment?
He does.
John Glasper.
Yeah,
Is that it?
I'm so shot. I should have smoked some when I was a kid, but he no, like she does this residency with him every year, and he puts her on in Blue Note and brings her in, and it's like this big. It's all these like famous jazz musicians, and then she comes in and sings some songs, and it's like to see them all together, and like it's this whole like it's the cool thing about art is that you want it. It's like what you want it to be like. It's so many things. It's a business. No. It's a like,
community.
There, it's like a community. You see, like they're excited for her to come up here and make music together, and they have this like magic thing they do once a year, and it's like it's been pretty crazy to see it the last couple of years since I've been with Lauren, because it's like sitting in the lounge after the show, and you have all these like crazy artists, and I'm just like, who the hell am I? Seeing them talk about stuff, and like, it's really cool. They're killing it. You gotta get her to do a song at the wedding. Definitely not gonna happen.
No?
So, maybe.
I wouldn't even ask her. Honestly. It's kinda...
No, it's also like I feel like when you're.
Well,
it sucks to have that thing like she's our friend.
Yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't want to ever.
It's like you put her out.
Like I just want the time with her as a friend. I don't want to make her like, hey, you're here because we want you to do this for us. It's more like, oh no, we're happy you're here because we care about you and we want you at our.
That's like when Shae goes to a wedding. They're like, hey, funny guy.
Get up there and do some.
That's the most annoying shit in the world. It's like, oh, just do something, and it's like you're not gonna laugh.
Make me laugh, funny guy.
Right? It's like fucking say something funny.
Say something
and it's like,
funny.
yeah, because it's so fucking easy to do when you do that. You ever listen to like when like Rogan or they all talk about doing corporate gigs where it's like I'm just standing at the end of a table telling jokes and they don't give a shit.
Yeah, nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, I'm like, that's exactly what it's like. Oh, I'm having a party. Just tell some jokes. Yeah, fuck you, dude. I'd love to.
Oh man. Yeah, I would never ask anybody to do anything like that.
No, but it's dope if they do. Like, it's dope if it's like an organic thing, right? Not like ask somebody, but if it becomes like an organic thing,
if they just
that's fucking fun, right? You know, but also it's like just trying to enjoy themselves at a wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Play me a song.
Play me a song. Tell me a joke, funny man. Play me a song.
Make me laugh, funny man. So you think you're funny?
You know what that makes me think of? Did you watch? Is it Master of None?
Yeah, Aziz Ansari.
Aziz Ansari's show.
Yeah.
No.
And
I was out a while ago.
In the second season, the one guy that was in Everybody Loves Raymond, I guess it was the brother.
Okay.
Well,
plays.
Awesome.
Yeah, he plays like a famous chef, and Aziz Ansari is like friends with him. But then they have this like really famous like piano player come. He's having all these cool dinners, but it's the same thing. He like puts him on the spot. Like it's like Aziz Ansari's there, and like the famous chef, and then like the piano player's chilling, like trying to hang out. He's got his girl, and then they're like, "Hey, like get up, like come on. Why do we have you here? Come on, play a song." And it's like, you can see he's like tight, but he has to do it because it's like he's getting his whole free meal. And it's like, I mean, what a position to be in where people just are desperate to have you around, so you'll do one thing and they're just like waiting for you to, perform. Like, even as a visual artist, like, if you're like, if I was a famous sculptor, like I'm making all these crazy sculptures, and what am I gonna do? Like, make a sculpture in front of us? Like, it's not a thing. Like, performers, it's comedian, like your stuff, like stand up and like music. It's like people want you to like just pull it out of thin air, and it's like it's gotta be exhausting.
No.
But it's just such a dumb thing too, because like that stuff, like asking somebody to tell you a joke is like that's supposed to happen organically.
Yeah,
like, humor is supposed to be.
That's
organic.
the tough part. It's like because I'll just be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that because fucking that's not how it works. I feel like with music and with songs and with something that's like you know what it is, right? You know if someone's sitting at that keyboard, like what they're going to play if they have sheet music in front of them. Yeah. So, I feel like that's easier because it's repeatable.
It's not a stand-up set that you're crafting and
yeah. Whereas like if someone just came out and started telling jokes, like maybe it's organic, maybe it's not the right vibe for that. And usually like the more pressure put on, that's like not. I don't know how to explain.
No, well, it's not.
No, I know what you're saying. It's not like something you could. You're funny in an organic setting for sure, but it's like you.
But if you could also structure shit too, but if it's like you just walk up and it's like.
And then they're like, oh, we already heard this joke. You can't do the repeatable song. Like, you're like, oh, I did this set. It was really funny. Let me just go do the set. They're like, oh, we already heard this.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you already heard that song too. Like, what the heck?
And I think, it's fun to do. And when it works, it's great. But like, also, you're never going to fail with a song.
Yeah. Unless like something happens to your voice. Or,
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if someone's like, sing a song and you're a great singer, you're like, yeah, I'm going to fucking crush it. But if someone just says, hey, tell me a joke, that would be great. And you're like, well, fucking 9 people are not paying attention, so.
No, yeah. Comedy definitely, it doesn't work like that. I mean, if you're like a musician, I think there are some people out there who are like standing there like, I hope somebody asks me to play something. You know what I mean? But,
and yeah, like people do love the attention of it, but like at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, I guess it all depends on your mood, because it's like, dude, I'm not a fucking dancing monkey. Like, why would I want to play a song because you said so? Like,
no, yeah.
But then also like
that's my value here.
Well, that's
why you invited me.
Yeah.
But it is cool, but like you said before, like to be that person, like, oh, this person's gonna play the piano, fucking
I think it was John Legend, by the way, in that episode. That's who it was. Like it was John Legend.
I gotta check that show.
Yeah, it's that show's great. He goes to Italy for 2 episodes and just makes pasta after he breaks up with his girl, and he's like, Aziz Ansari, not John.
Is it like like what, a written show? Or
it's like a written show. It's like Louis C.K.'s show he did. It's the same kind of thing. It's like
Louis,
but it's Louis kind of about relationships, right? Aziz Ansari's show.
Yeah, a lot of it's about
love and trying to.
It's
a good show.
I mean, it got canceled after he was accused of.
After he got hit with the same shit.
What did he get accused of?
That one was a funny. You ever hear that story?
That one was like, it was like nonsense.
Yeah, dude, it was like he got Me Too. This was like the big.
He was the one that got Me Too, where it was.
That was right before COVID, right?
Yeah, it was before COVID, but he got Me Too'd for like the thing that the written up article of what the girl said. It was. It sounded like a regular date. It was like he tried to kiss me twice.
Yeah, like they had a nice dinner.
That's
and he tried to kiss her on the way.
He's like, we took a cab home and he tried to kiss me. It's like, you can get canceled over
that? Yeah.
You get canceled for shooting your shot?
Like, isn't that what you do on a date?
Yeah, if you think the vibe's good and everything's going okay, like.
I don't know. It's just when you read it, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on.
That's what you do on a date. Honestly, your best bet is read that article and then watch the show, because the show's about him dating in New York.
Yeah,
and you see him shoot his shot, and it's like, if you know what happened to him and you watch, it's like hilarious. Because like one girl like really wants to have sex right away, and the next one is like, like, ugh, what's wrong with you? You're weird. You know, it's like normal, like, Hinge dating in New York City.
Yeah, he should have just flipped it on that girl and been like, that's some Indian racism, bro. Like,
Yeah.
That's some fucked up shit. It sucks that happened to him, that he got, like, Me Too'd for trying to kiss a girl. But, like, it probably had to happen for everyone to be like, all right, like...
Yeah, like, there is a level, like, we can help these women without being, like...
Like, there's a big difference between, like, a guy actually trying to take the next steps in a relationship with a girl that he's trying to be with versus, like, a piece of shit like Epstein or whatever that dude, the dude with, Miramax?
Who was that guy? What's his name?
Damn, what is his name now?
Yeah. Shot.
Is he in jail yet?
Yo,
He's been in jail. I think he's dead, to be honest.
Did he die?
Hopefully. But
he was in bad shape when he went in.
He was.
Well, at least they made him look that way.
Look, here's the thing. He was fine up until he had court. Then he had a walker.
Yeah,
and
you
shit.
saw that?
He was like fucking.
He aged, man. As soon as
He
they
aged
arrested
like
him, he aged.
Well,
very quick.
I'll tell you one thing.
Took the pep out of his
When I got into my car
Really
accident,
deflated.
I mean, when I got into my motorcycle accident, I was able to use a walker and crutches. But let me tell you, when I had to go to court for a ticket, I was in a wheelchair. So I get it. It's like, it's just a look that you go like, oh, I'm hurt, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely helping your case.
Yeah, but no, I do think he did have something serious with him, and he's probably dead right now. Like,
I know this dude I know who's a motorcycle guy from New York that lives not in New York anymore. His wife was one of the people that guy whose name we don't know.
What is his
name?
Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein.
There you
But
go.
she was one of the people like on the news.
No way.
Yeah. She was like one of the
people that he.
I don't think he did anything like, you know, he was like abusing his power and being, you know.
Yeah, but why was she on the news?
She was one of the people that he targeted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that spoke out during the court case. She was like part of the court case. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Tip of the iceberg.
I don't know, man. The Epstein files are coming out. That'll be exciting.
You're never going to see those files, just so you know.
Because everybody was there.
They shredded those things immediately.
Why would they make files?
You saw the flight logs.
We saw the flight logs and we saw pictures and we have an idea from witness. Like, that's the crazy part. Like, someone tells a story about something.
People want to know the clients. People want to know.
But all the rich people
all you have to do is
according to the flight logs.
You just look at the flight logs and listen to the test. Like, just listen to what people that have been in those situations are saying.
Yeah.
But it's hearsay, right? It's not admissible in court.
Because it never went to court.
Yeah. So, like, but if you listen to that shit where they're like, yeah, I was on an island with, like, Prince, whoever the fuck. Like, obviously.
Right.
Or maybe not, but, like, whatever. They still suck.
But
they're all sus.
If it was a honeypot, you kind of want to know.
I would also make the argument that, like,
it's pretty clear.
Maybe some people just went there to hang out and have a nice dinner.
I thought this was a resort.
Yeah, or like maybe they were like down for some illegal gambling and prostitution, but maybe like not children.
The one thing,
it was like, but
that
doesn't make it right.
Well, that's why it's called the honeypot, right?
Yeah.
You say, oh, we got all these girls here. They're all 18, and then, oh, nope, sorry, they were all 16. Now you're a pedophile.
Gotcha. Here's the
now,
paperwork.
you do what I say, or
you're done.
These videos.
The one thing we're safe knowing is that Stephen Hawking probably didn't touch any of those girls.
Is he even physically able to?
That's what I'm saying. I can guarantee that, like death in Texas. He probably did nothing. Unless you could molest someone with a robotic voice. Like,
Right, poor Stephen.
I mean, he's dead anyway.
They just wheeled him right into that mess.
They're like, we need something from this guy. Oops.
Probably just like the secrets to the universe.
Yeah, he was worried about AI, Stephen Hawking.
Everybody that's in AI is worried about it.
Yeah.
My brother just told me.
And it's like, we're just using it to make, like, I don't know, videos of Trump and Putin skateboarding.
like drinking lean with grills.
Have you seen those?
I'm like, yeah.
They're
I'm
so
like, wow,
dope.
this is awesome. It's like Trump with like silver, like diamond grills.
Yeah.
Like a cup.
Oh, those AI things
like
are
a
just
styrofoam
my
cup of-
Did you
favorite
see
one.
the SeaWorld one?
No.
Oh, there's a SeaWorld one.
Have you seen like
Oh.
it's like all like Chicano, like just straight up Mexican gangbanger tattoos, but it's like Kim Jong Il, Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama,
They
like
use the same people.
doing kick
Nancy
flips
Pelosi.
and shit,
Yeah.
just doing wild
just like
shit.
wacky.
Then you got like Kamala Harris, like dressed like just straight up raunchy as fuck.
It's really disturbing.
It's so dope. And then they got like that sick song that's like do 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 do.
It's a whole weird thing.
It's fucking tight.
No, the problem with AI is when they put it into a robot, and now we're in Terminator.
Well, look, my brother had a meeting recently, and they were like, my brother does AI stuff now, like
Westworld, right?
machine learning, and they had like their meeting of all the people that are part of these AI startups, and like they have a mentor and all of them are like, the guy's like, we're doomed. We got 5 years. Like they all believe it, and you're like, are they hysterical or like maybe I kind of want to think they are.
I mean,
but
5 years seems a little hysterical.
5 years seems crazy.
But like, what's the what's the
AI.
whole idea behind it? Like, if AI destroys humanity, then AI could no longer. Like, what's
that'll be the new species. Honestly, it's kind of
don't
freeing
need-
to
they
think we
wouldn't
don't destroy
need-
ourselves, and the AI is the reason that everything gets messed up. Like we don't just
Well,
tear each other
It's like
apart.
it's so
I mean,
freeing to take the responsibility of
but
this entire planet
theoretically-
off of our hands. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
But
100%.
theoretically, we did destroy ourselves
'Cause
with
we
AI,
made it.
right? Exactly. So
We made
either way, we
something
still
that-
destroyed ourselves.
I don't know where I heard it, but it was like a theory that like humanity comes in cycles where it's like you evolve to a point where you create AI, something happens, destroys it, then you evolve to a point where you create AI.
And we've
probably-
done it like 3 times or something.
Yeah, that's what people say.
Every time someone says that shit, I'm like, yo, has anyone ever played Assassin's Creed all the way through?
No,
Fuck.
I played a lot of Assassin's Creed, but I don't think I've ever.
If
beat
you
it.
play it all the way through, like the story is that like you're looking, the whole reason you're doing the whole Assassin's Creed thing is to plug into a machine to look for an artifact from so far in the past,
yeah,
that
that's
we were
like way
advanced.
more advanced.
and like that cataclysm wiped them out.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's like a lot of people's theories.
But isn't that? Did you watch Westworld all the way through?
I stopped after this first season.
like I watch
But
episodes,
it
I watch
goes
shows.
into how they try to like literally just replace humans with themselves, but then I think they come to the idea, the acknowledgement that there's no point and for them to even exist after they've killed the humans, and then it's just they wipe themselves out because like, they only exist in the form of like.
Yeah.
Because there's humans, and then there's no humans, and they're like, oh, there's no point in existing anymore. Right? I mean, like this.
I mean,
if there
I
was no
guess-
humans and only robots, what would they do?
That makes sense.
Robot stuff.
But like, and it's like it's
Gardening.
probably like the
Go-
most.
For what? They don't eat.
I don't know. Take care of the plants.
They also. Okay.
I like to think that they're like really sweet.
But the thing is, like, if you create AI and it could learn, it could eventually evolve to a point where it could take input sensory and feel and taste and smell and touch and just have like. How does the human brain work? It works on electrical signals. Like, how is that any different than a robot just having the right algorithm to experience senses?
Yeah.
So, like, what's the point? I don't know. Like, maybe.
Does it go
Well,
downhill?
But then, what's the point?
Well,
of
that
it,
was the
right?
whole
Like,
thing.
The answer
People
would be
started
like,
to realize that they didn't know if they were robots or not because all they did was upload that person's system into that robot. So
yeah.
like
So
that
the robot doesn't know it's a robot.
Exactly.
But like,
And it makes the same mistakes as a human anyway. Because
Right.
now it's just a human.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't like they always say these AI movies are always like the machines get to a point where they realize that the biggest problem on Earth is humans,
It's humans. Right.
and then they wipe the humans out.
but then the biggest problem on Earth is them.
It's them, right?
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Because
And
for
then they
them
wind
to
up wiping
continue to
themselves out.
function and
Yes.
create energy for them to survive, it's gonna be worse.
yeah. And why are they so like holier than thou that they care about
Well, it would be like an algorithm that we built into them.
Yeah, where they feel like this must be the most logical thing.
But the most wild thing is like for a robot to be like, yeah, what does it even matter? Why should we even exist without humans? Like humans could say the same thing. Like our existence is super spiritual, and like what goes on after this life, for most people and most religions and most races, like that's what's more important than this.
Yeah,
it's
true.
like how you move through this life like defines what goes on afterwards.
Yeah, what happens to your consciousness.
But like you could sit here and say like humans are kind of the same thing. Like nothing matters.
Well, I was going to say, what do you think is more interesting, that or the fact that we could be living in some type of time continuum because of all the, you hear of all the books that people are finding that were written about stuff that's happening now?
What like the Baron Trump?
Little Baron Trump.
I've been hearing about that for a while.
Not even at the...
But what is that? I don't know about
There's
that.
a series of books about
How tall is
Baron
Trump, by the way?
Like 7 feet tall.
he's like some kind of alien.
Yeah.
Is insane, but his mom's real
there's
tall.
and
his dad's real tall too. They're like
Trump is big.
And he's still 2 feet taller than both of them.
You know, tall plus tall equals really
Wait, so
tall.
what are the books? Somebody like found a book.
Books that were written, I don't even know when they were, 100 years ago.
They were written a long time. Like, I think before Baron, Donald, Avant.
Oh, way before all they were.
Before they were all born.
Yeah.
Like 1800s,
It's
early 1900s.
And what are the books saying? Like this?
I didn't read the books, but
So
he's supposedly the last president, right?
There's multiple books.
That seems like it might track.
One of them's called The Last President. One of them's called like Baron's Great Adventure, where Baron travels forward in time to meet, like, he had a mentor named Don.
Yeah.
Don like was to meet the last president in the free world. Like it's called like Baron's Marvelous Journey or something, and it's really interesting because they're drawing like parallels between that.
Right.
But like I think one of them has like someone named Elon.
No, I was gonna say so.
Is
The
that a
other
separate
the
one?
other book is another book written about how we travel to Mars and start our own society on Mars, and the leader they elect on Mars is called Elon.
But
this was written like 100 years ago.
But from what I heard, Elon's dad.
Dude, what are the
Elon's dad read that book
What
and
are
then
the
named the
chances?
son Elon.
That's from what,
You know
from
what
what
I
I
mean?
heard.
It's like-
Elon's parents
Dude.
were like fans of that book.
I mean,
Yeah.
And they named him because of that. But what
I don't know because Rogan went on and said Elon never even heard of the book. He didn't even know it existed. And when he read it, he
Parents
goes,
didn't
"Somebody
tell
made this up. This is fake."
Because
He
his
didn't
parents couldn't tell him, because if they did, he wouldn't have that fire to want to do that.
But like that
They
makes you
planted
think
seeds.
about.
Well, you can't plant that seed.
That makes you
dude.
think about like,
Oh.
is like reality a simulation? Is this a matrix? Blah blah blah. Like, and what's the algorithm? And how does
Or
it
are there
work?
time travelers?
Like, have you ever heard of like the idea of? All right, think about like you play GTA, you play Assassin's Creed, you play any RPG game. When you meet NPCs, they repeat the same shit, right?
Yeah.
Like your NPC, you bump into an NPC in GTA, they're like, hey, excuse me,
Hey, watch it.
your mother's my sister. I remember hearing that one a lot. Like, it was weird, but whatever. But, so, like, the point is, everything's based off an algorithm of a certain amount of data that just gets repeated.
Yeah.
So what trips me out is the whole, like, JFK Lincoln thing. Have you guys ever heard of this?
I did hear the connection between the JFK and Lincoln.
So it's like,
Oh, it's like the same.
John F. Kennedy was shot outside a theater or something like that, or on his way to a theater while Lincoln was shot in a theater. They were both shot by like someone with 3 names: John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald. Their assassin. Oh, that was the thing. The assassin fled the theater and went to a book depository or book store or some shit, library. Whereas like John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in a theater and went to like, let's say, a book depository where they make books or deposit. I don't even
Some
know
kind
what
of
that
book
word
place.
means, right? But
Library?
library. We'll call it a library, right?
Bookstore, library,
Or like a printing
printing
shop
press.
or printing.
Yeah. We'll call it a printing shop, right? And Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy out of one of those and then went and hid in a theater. So it's like there's these parallels where it's the opposite but similar. One was like 47 years old. One was like they're
74.
well, that's
it's
not,
like no,
that's
but
not,
yeah,
but
but it's like too close to not. It's like very weird.
But it's like they're the number of president, like their age, the day they were elected, all the way down to their vice president who took over, like a 3-name person, and like what their names were. Like there's so much shit that lines up, and it could just be like if you're looking for an answer, you can find
it,
the answer, right?
But it's not even that. Have you ever seen how they line up all the sci-fi movies that are supposed to take place in the future over time, and how like they've hit almost every mark that they've made? Not at the right time, but they've like you can find yourself through sci-fi movies where we are in time.
What's next?
Based on everything that they've hit.
No,
it's crazy. Somebody made a thing of every like sci-fi movie and like the date of what it was supposed to be in order of the date it was supposed to be, and like how we hit all the marks. But the dates are off.
Yeah,
like, the dates aren't.
But like it's happening.
But it happened.
How
think
far are
it
the
happened.
dates off? Because I hear some shit that like we're 1,000 years off our calendar.
No, it's not like 1,000. Like 1984. It's really started happening
we're like
in the early 2000s.
We're like 100 years off or something.
Or like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
all off, but we're
2001: A
we're
Space
almost
Odyssey
there.
is like
there's a lot of different things where like they missed the time, but we still hit the mark. Just at the wrong time. Like,
I'm a big believer in that. Like people, like artists and scientists and stuff, are inspired by art and movies and films, and novels and everything. And like when we make that media about that, people try to make it real because they think it's cool.
But then where did the
that's their life's work.
Where did the idea of that media of that come from?
So I don't know. Somebody just made it up, I guess.
But the fact that it's almost always so accurate.
I don't know. No, I mean,
well, that's what
weird,
he's saying.
man.
It's accurate because we create based
like
off
we
of
want.
Yeah, but he's saying
like
we
we
want
dream
it
it.
to happen. But the person that makes a movie can't just make it happen in society.
My brother
50
wants
years
robots
later.
because he saw robot movies growing up. Like his whole life's work
Yeah,
is
but
because he wants to
personal.
have robot. You know what I mean? But that's who's forwarding the technology. Like they're like nerds that want to see the thing that they saw in the sci-fi movie become real. They want to live forever. They want to.
Yeah, no, I get it.
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
I think like the
terrifying.
real fear, to be completely honest, is like watching the way people behave, the addictive personalities that most people have. Like I'm at the airport, every single person has their head in their phone.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So like we become so subservient and addicted to technology. Like my fear or theory on AI would be AI creates a robot, creates a better robot, creates an android robot. Humanity just chooses not to reproduce anymore. Every man and woman could choose the perfect mate for $1 amount.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we could wipe ourselves out by just choosing not to reproduce.
Did you see Companion?
Because we want what in our mind is like Ex Machina, right? Like,
and
what
you
in
watch
our mind
Companion that just came out? You gotta watch that. Same thing.
Companion?
Companion. Everybody has the guy's got a robot that he loves, and she thinks she's human, and has a story where they met in the grocery store, but that's like you pick an option.
Yeah. And I could see like a majority, if it's affordable enough, most people will buy it. And if it's sellable, most companies will fucking sell it. Because they, like we talked about earlier, like there's no morality left. If there's a buck to be made and a profit to be had, like that's going to happen.
Yeah, we wipe ourselves out. We're just like,
I'd rather, you know what? I don't want to deal with the real world. I don't want to deal with hurt.
Yeah, what's it like to have a real relationship?
Argument,
yeah.
Like,
or compromise.
But that's already happening in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it is. I agree. Yeah. It's happening.
I could have a 25-year-old girl that looks exactly like I want her to look, and never argues with me, and here she is. She's a robot.
And she sees you and loves you because the algorithm's built. No matter how old you are, no matter how useless
why will I
you
have
are.
these hard conversations with as we age and raise children
and women?
Why?
I feel like women would do the same thing. Like, why deal with that asshole man that's gonna like fucking
cheat on them and hurt them?
Hey,
But like,
That's
no,
not
like,
me, man.
I'm a
truth
nice
is,
guy.
like,
Just because you can't find a mate, Shae.
dude, I found a mate. All right,
You found it, man.
I found a mate. That sounds fucking so psychotic. I found a mate.
What are you, Australian?
Aye.
Boy.
No. No, but like, I think most people, like, they don't like conflict. Like most people, right? Not everybody, but a majority of people.
Yeah,
And if you
most
have a
people like
majority
conflict,
of people, then they're gonna raise another majority of people that's bigger, that doesn't like conflict, that doesn't like bad feelings or hurt or heartbreak or stress or anxiety. I mean, we see it a lot, and it's probably not most people, but it could become that if you foster that behavior. And if a company is going to market, here's the perfect man, here's the perfect woman. Never lies, never cheats, always there, cooks a perfect meal. Fucking.
Well, we're halfway there, right? I mean, how many people have met their mates online?
I have.
Fucking.
But I mean, we're almost like that was like step one, right?
I was able to curate the person I wanted.
He was matched up with somebody.
For
the
sure.
computer,
For sure.
the
Okay.
AI decided who he should be matched
Found
up
like
with.
an artistic, wonderful person that I matched with
Right?
instead of like
We're almost
who
there.
I'd meet at burrito bar.
I know your mom was telling me this
Yeah.
morning. Like
She's like, it's like
met the perfect like.
it's like a
soulmate for you.
real fit, but like I wouldn't have met her here, you know. The internet. So when they just change a little bit of that, and they're like, oh.
But
We don't have to
take a
match you.
robot.
We'll make it for you.
That's been on Black
Even
Mirror,
more
too. We have
perfect.
Black Mirror episodes about that.
Yeah. Oh, we could change it. Oh, are you getting a little bored? Now she has green hair.
I mean, like that.
Okay.
I see that as more of a possibility than robots taking over and destroying us. In fact, I see that so much more of a possibility that I feel like robots would take over to help us try and reproduce to get our numbers back.
Well, I think
To be like, we can't be doing this, bro.
Well, I think the thing is, everybody thinks it's going to be one thing, and really what it's going to be is a combination of a lot of things coming together all at the same time.
That
Right?
leads
Like that's
to the...
one of the things that comes in. You know, the robots are another thing that comes in. There's going to be all these.
What if
different
it's
things
like
that
robots
push-
start taking so many people's jobs? There's extreme poverty.
Mhm.
There's like this huge different caste system.
social unrest. Remember the Animatrix?
And then like,
That shit was crazy.
dude, I have trouble remembering the Animatrix. I remember that one dude that was
You loved
running
the
really-
Animatrix.
I did love
I
it.
watched you watch it and you really enjoyed it. I saw you love that film.
I've never heard somebody say, "I've watched you watch that," and you were really.
I didn't even.
Yeah.
He's
You
like,
watched it.
I-
I watched you the
he's like,
whole time.
I didn't even fucking watch it. I watched you watch it. And I know it was good based off of your facial
We
expression.
were in
watch
his
it.
living room before the back renovation.
Oh, wow, that's a
shit.
long
We
time
were
ago.
there,
That's a long
and you
time
were
ago.
there, and you were there. We watched it, and we were
You were
like,
there, you were there.
whoa.
I just remember
But the
the
robots
dude-
were like slaves. You know?
I don't remember that one.
We gotta watch the Animatrix.
I'm down.
It's really good.
He's got work in the morning.
Sucks.
You sure about that?
Sucker.
Got work. What time is it right now?
It's like
7:30.
7:30 almost.
Oh, it's early. Come
It's
on.
super early. You coming
You're
out
not
to
going
dinner?
done Yet. Are you coming to leave?
I gotta eat something.
Oh, this night just got crazy.
Do we have like 2 more albums left?
We have one more album left. I'll do the last album. It's the only it's the one that compares.
This
to
episode's
your,
about AI.
Yeah. I did Travis Scott's Rodeo, because in that genre, I think that this is one of the greatest albums that was created in that genre.
What are you calling that genre? It's
Trap,
not trap.
pop
Is it
rock,
trap? Pop, trap,
It's
trap pop.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it is trap for sure. And it is popular. I agree. But
What would you call it? Yeah. Listen, I'm not hating on the genre. Listen, there's no bad genres, because every genre there are good artists. It's just
it is.
some genres get infiltrated by mainstream and become overrun with really bad music, and this is one of those genres where it's like there's there's a limited number of really great albums within this genre, and both of these albums that I think we picked are in the top 10. You know what I mean? Like, they're both really great albums within that genre. If you're a guy who's like, yeah, I'm into hip hop, but I like radio hip hop, it's like, okay, you'll love both of these albums without a doubt. I mean, you're not going to know any other good hip hop because you're only listening to radio, but you'll agree with me that Travis Scott's Rodeo and A$AP Rocky's Long.Live.Asap are two great albums within that genre of hip hop that you listen to. They've dominated that.
They definitely did. They
That
put him on top. It's insane too. Like, if you look at A$AP Rocky, he doesn't put out albums. I don't know if because of the court case, like, he hasn't put one out.
Yeah,
I don't
put
think
out
he's
a couple. I mean,
but he hasn't put one out in like 7 years, dude.
has it been that long? I was gonna say I can't remember the last one he put out. And I know he was running into trouble, so I don't know. Travis Scott, I think, is still doing good.
Yeah, Travis Scott's still doing
He
good.
did
He's
Utopia.
good.
I thought Utopia was good. You know, he tried to go a little bit outside of his boundaries, which was good. And of course, what the hell is the name of the other album he did? The big album that had the most, but whatever it was, I think it was the one after Rodeo was really amazing too. You know, he had his own festival in Houston, because I guess he's from Houston. So they had I forget what it was called, the Travis Scott Festival, and then like they made a documentary about it because people died. It was like a lot of people died. You hear about it?
So yeah, it was like from what.
Yeah,
so
it's
what
crazy.
happened is,
You can go watch
remember
the
we used to go to
documentaries.
festivals and shit,
Yeah.
and then we'd try and get right up on the stage,
Yeah,
and then it would
people
suck.
rushed the
And it
stage.
felt like there was a chance at death at
Yeah.
those festivals.
Yeah, like it was hard to breathe at times. Like, you get crushed by
What was that?
thousands of
2006?
dude. Fucking stage dive, like
Was
crowd
it Take It Back
surfing.
Sunday?
Linkin Park.
I was like, everyone's
Linkin
gonna
Park,
die during
yeah.
this
I
concert.
almost
Yeah,
died
so
to Take It Back
we
Sunday.
run all the way up to the front the minute they start playing. Then everybody else has the same idea, and you're just like fucking crushed
You get
against
crushed.
that gate.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened at that
A
concert.
bunch of people died.
But then, like,
it wasn't just like a couple people. There was like 20 people died.
It was a lot, but for the same reason. They
Yeah.
were basically
There
just.
was a bum rush to the stage, and like 20 people died. Yeah, or something like. I mean, it was like 15. It was a large number of people.
Yeah, which totally so, and like a lot of them were like, fucking young people.
It's gotta be a weird way to go out.
I have the.
It's
like
gotta be.
listening to
It's
music
gotta
and
be
you're like-
terrible. It's a tragedy. Don't make me laugh.
It's horrible.
I've been there, right?
Yeah,
Usually you
a bit
just climb the
close.
gate and you say,
I feel like
fucking
we're like, yeah.
crowd surf me back, and then people are in a hurry to just grab your ass and throw you to the end of the line.
I mean, one of you guys was, or both of you were with me at one of those concerts where, I mean, I feel like we've seen people crowd surfing and get thrown, and then the crowd clear and they just drop straight down, and
they
no
didn't
one
do that
catches
to
them.
me, but I definitely lost a Nextel I-95
Yep.
and
Astroworld,
and a
that's it.
shoe. I lost a fucking shoe.
They did that. It was
Did
a
we look for your shoe for
Astro
like
World Festival. That's
hours?
It was really upsetting to have one.
Did you find your shoe?
I think Dan has the other shoe.
I do.
We
It's
talked
on-
about
it's
that.
It's still on the shelf in my old bedroom in my closet.
But yeah, no, I
Found the
left
shoe.
that concert with a
What's up?
shoe.
You found the shoe after
no,
you
no,
left.
no, no,
No.
no. He only had one shoe left, and
'Cause-
left the shoe at my house. He only had one shoe. I gave him another pair of shoes, and he left that one shoe at my house, and I put it on a shelf.
And you still,
What's crazy is
You gotta
go
a
get
lot
that
of
shoe.
people lost
It's
shoes.
money now.
right here.
Dude, I can't find another pair of those shoes. It probably is. Those were the Converse NYC editions with the skulls and the city skyline was etched into black on black. It was sick. But a lot of people lost shoes because when you crowd surf, they take your shoes off and just
Yeah, people
throw
just
'em.
throw 'em.
Yeah.
No, mine, because I got so many flat tires that day, the sole came out from
Yes,
the bottom.
yes.
So I just
They
got
come
mad
apart.
and ripped the sole off, and then I'm like, I can't wear these anymore. It was a mess.
Damn.
It was a good time though.
It's a great time.
Fucking bamboozle. But yeah, Travis Scott world. That sucks.
That's the.
The guy's just putting out great music, and
Yeah.
people are excited to hear it.
Yeah, it's like a security issue.
I mean, listen, he was able to make his own festival. It's pretty
It's pretty gotta be amazing.
He was really up there. It was really popular. It was good. I like that. That was one of my favorite albums too. Astro World, great album. Yeah, I mean, there was a few albums I wasn't really a great fan of, but as far as going into that genre, he's one of those guys who was able to dominate that genre where a lot of that music just sounds really commercialized and oversaturated and not really that fun to listen to. I think he did a really great job. Same as A$AP Rocky in his first couple albums.
I feel like every A$AP album's sick.
Every? I don't even know
single.
how many I can name.
There's only like 4.
I was gonna say it's not that many, right?
There's like 4, but they're
because it was Long.Live.Asap, and then it was then what was the next one after that? It was
Long.Last.
Long.Last.Asap.
Long.Last
Long.Live.Asap, or yeah, it was
Let me see.
Long.Last.Asap.
I'll give you some of them.
Something like that. He did another album. They were all pretty good.
And then A$AP Ferg's died too.
Yeah, that was all from the same crew, right? The whole
A$AP Mob. So, Live, Love A$AP, Long Live A$AP,
Live, Love ASAP.
At Long Last A$AP,
At Long Last.
and then
ASAP.
Testing. And Testing was sick.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're dope. But nothing since 2018. He's got to make some more shit, man.
Yeah.
Let me know that he's
I was gonna
clear.
say, I remember Testing, and that's why I was like, I don't remember another album after that, so I couldn't tell you.
His next album will be in Italian.
He was
Sponsored by Ray-Ban.
A lot of layers to that one.
I remember he did some like crazy freestyle with Tyler the Creator, and they made like a video to it. They were like in a studio. It was like crazy. But him and Tyler were like hanging out for a while, and they made some crazy track. I forget the name of it, and they released it online. It was pretty good. It was pretty funny.
We gotta do one of these and do a Tyler the Creator
We should do Tyler.
with Dave.
Tyler's fucking
with
wild.
Dave. With Dave. That'll be the Dave one.
Why? Because he likes Tyler the Creator.
Yeah, I mean he put me on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like back in the day when he was doing what?
No, at Danny's bachelor party
Oh, yeah?
on the beach, he put on Earthquake, and I was like,
Earthquake?
I was like,
yeah.
oh.
What was the
Well,
first?
that's Igor. That was, and that's not even like.
But that's the first time I really heard him, and I was like, oh, who is
Oh,
this?
really? That was the first.
And
time
then I went
What's
home
the
and I
first
listened to
song you
everything,
heard
and I
from
was like,
Tyler?
so I was late for sure.
No, I heard of him. I don't know the first song, but he had. It was the album before the Cherry Bomb album. It wasn't his first album. I think it was his second album. I had heard some
The
stuff.
Wolf
from that.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I first heard of him, but I wasn't really into him. And then even when he came out with Flower Boy, I didn't really get into him until Igor. Igor was like amazing. to me.
Igor's great. Yeah.
Which isn't even really a hip hop. It's more of an R&B album than anything else. But
He
still
sings
killed
like
it. But when you
90%
go
of
back and listen to Flower Boy, what an amazing
Flower
album.
Boy is,
What an amazing album.
I think, my favorite album from
And
him.
then even his new stuff, Chromacopia, was amazing.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's another
Chromacopia was
Call Me
sick.
If You Get
You-
Lost, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
You were
beast.
telling me about Chromacopia.
Yeah.
That was tight.
Yeah.
Yonkers was the first song I heard from him.
Yes, that was.
And he was like Artist of the Year, MTV
Well, he's
Music Awards, like
Well,
years ago.
he won a Grammy for Igor, but he was part of that Odd Future show. It was him and Earl Sweatshirt. It was
Odd
him,
Future,
Earl
yeah.
Sweatshirt, or Odd Future, and there was somebody else.
Odd Future was sick too. There's a lot of sick songs on from Odd Future that I didn't even realize till.
Yeah, it's funny when you see like the different paths that like Tyler and Earl Sweatshirt went down, and they both were so successful with everything they've done so far. It's pretty freaking crazy. But I give a lot of credit to Tyler only because he's that guy that goes he's pushing the boundaries of hip hop and really doing like crazy stuff with it that a lot of people can't even comprehend. Like they won't even give Tyler the time of day, which is nuts. But
That's wild. I think his new album's sick.
all of them. All of his albums, but all of his albums aren't traditional hip hop. They're not traditional hip. They're
And
out
he
there.
dresses like crazy.
Yeah.
And
he
he's in a
says
stuff
suit
gay.
all
Oh,
Andy
no.
Warhol. Like,
Dang.
he plays with that gender role stuff all the
I
time.
think he trolls people with it.
Yeah.
Because once
He's
people
fucking
started,
playing. dude.
he's
Yeah.
playing. Like, people are like, oh, yeah, he's definitely gay. I'm like,
But he
I think
throws
he's
it in there,
screwing
to
with
kinda,
everybody.
but it works. It gets people.
Yeah.
He's like straight up just
Well,
class class clown, let me fuck with you type shit.
Yes, and he gets a lot of hate from the hip hop world because he's very like
because he doesn't give a fuck.
But he's also not the typical like if you watch. He actually had a TV show on Viceland. If you ever watch his TV show, I forget the name of what it was called, but like it was a thing where like he got into something that like interested him and like did this whole episode about something he didn't know about. Like he did a whole one on deprivation tanks, sensitivity deprivation tanks, where he went to the place and did a whole shit. He had like it was. I remember watching, and if you watch him like and this is just him as a person, like he's not a part of that culture that is hip hop. So I think he gets a lot of flack for not being that person that everybody thinks that hip hop is associated with. And of course, oh, he's gay, he's this and that. I'm like, dude, he's just like he's screwing with you like how anyone else would screw with you when you call him gay. Like it's not. I don't know. I just never saw it like as a like anything about him like it was like, oh, this guy's gay. I never thought that.
He's just doing him. He's not the exact version of what you would expect.
Of course,
him to
yeah, 100%.
People are.
At least that's the way I saw it. Like I just saw he was hated on because he's an artist. He's a legit artist. Like people like him, Kanye West, Danny Brown. You ever watch Danny Brown on Joe Rogan?
Nah.
Dude, it's
I don't remember it.
wild. It was years ago. It was like probably like 4 years ago. It's wild. It's like to think that this dude is a hip hop artist making some of the most ridiculous music in hip hop right now.
He's on One Train too.
Yeah.
He's on that song.
Yeah. But he's like he's a character. He's not like he's the outside realm of hip hop. And that's why when you see people associate themselves with guys like Tyler, the Creator, and Danny Brown, like people Alchemists do when Alchemist comes out with an album, you say, these are the great guys, but they're just outside that realm of traditional hip hop. People don't want to mess with them. So they're like secluded to these like inner circles of really great artists, really putting out ridiculous verses, ridiculous albums. Earl Sweatshirt's another one. They're not the traditional hip hop. It's like this new thing that's coming out with just new artistic ways of creating hip hop, pushing all the boundaries. The same way Kanye West did. The same way Kanye West did.
They're doing it now in a lot of different ways. And I think we
Wu-Tang,
talked about it before about like Young Thug and shit like that. Like it's so much different than the original hip hop we grew up with or what we know as, but it doesn't make it any less complicated to do.
To do what Tyler does is pretty complicated.
I'm not talking about Tyler. I'm just talking about like as hip hop evolves, there are so many different styles.
Oh yeah, now there's like a ridiculous. And you know what? I kick myself in the ass at the same time where I say this because I'll see these new styles come out and I'll be like, I can't listen to this. This is ridiculous. And then I'm like, I know what I'm doing right now. I'm like, 5 years from now, I'm gonna be like, this album's amazing.
Yeah, that's how trap went for me.
Same.
That's
here.
how everything went.
Same
That's why I said that.
Same here. Yeah.
I'm saying that.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? And now
I'll still shit on like Little
Some
Yachty
of it'll
songs,
die
Young
out.
Thug songs. Like I'll shit on that.
Yeah,
I'll listen to
Yachty stuff is
but
hard.
early
some
Gucci
of it,
Man now.
I fucking really fuck with.
It's sick. I'll listen to early Gucci Man now.
Dude.
Hyped.
I feel like
Dude.
I always listen to
Early
Gucci Man. But now I can listen to
Dope.
Gucci Man in public, proud.
What about like
Pre-ice cream
I'll
tattoo
listen
on
to
the
Pusha
face.
T all day.
Oh, I mean that's like, but yeah, like Pusha T and like clips
No,
and stuff.
Early
Pusha T was always-
What
it was
about-
clips?
what about
Clips
Big
was
Sean?
always in.
Yeah,
Early Big Sean.
yeah.
Like,
Early Big Sean
like
was
10
good.
years ago, Big Sean.
Yeah. The early
It's
stuff.
fucking dope.
Yeah, his
like-
early stuff was good.
I was just listening to it the other day, so I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about Big Sean. Damn, Kanye must have shelved his ass.
Yep, he said.
Yeah, he
Later.
said, fuck it. That's messed up too.
Who was
Like-
what was that Tiny Desk concert I was raving about recently? Talking
Today?
about old school. No, not today.
I was gonna say that was
Old school. Because it was with. Hold on, I gotta go back here. So Lil Wayne's main producer for all those guys for Birdman
Manny Fresh?
and everybody was Manny Fresh.
Yeah.
So there was the Tiny Desk concert. It was Manny Fresh and somebody.
Juvenile.
Yep.
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I only know it's Juvenile, Lil Wayne,
It's
the Big
Juvenile
Timers.
and Manny Fresh, and he does Project Chick on the Tiny Desk concert, and it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Apparently
What's
not. I can't.
Project Shae?
It's
That's a
we're gonna watch
song.
it after. We can't watch anything on the podcast.
I know we can't watch it.
But as soon as this is over, we're gonna put it on YouTube, and you're gonna be so hyped to watch this shit. Is so real. But it's Manny Fresh at Juvenile and like some like, you know, famous. It's like some orchestra and then some crazy saxophone player, and it is just. But it's just. I guess where I'm going with this is it's cool to see like that kind of music that you thought was like when we were young, and it was like this like kind of outsider stuff or like. It's never going to be a mainstream art thing, and now it's like on the Tiny Desk concert, and it's like.
I think Juvenile is pretty mainstream, though.
You're going to lose your mind when you see this Tiny Desk concert.
I have 400 Degrees on vinyl.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't even know.
All right,
if
I'll
that's-
prove it to you since you want to see it.
I believe you. A million records. Oh.
It's insane how like
I mean,
Twice
look at that album cover.
dude, twice you've had to go into the wall and you're like, yeah, it's right here. Like I know exactly.
I
How do
have
you
them in
know?
alphabetical order.
It's insane.
It's by genre and
The
alphabetical
fucking
order.
Dewey Decimal System for
It's
records.
really-
Nah, yeah, I've had to.
It's still the last time I did this with him. The list with the conversations about each album is still already like. I'll never. I mean, it's like a level of Asperger's. That's just. It's just I can't even believe anyone can retain that much information. It's like what happens if you play like no video games and waste no time on any bullshit and you just fixate on one thing
bullshit.
that
It's just a
it's not
bullshit.
bullshit. It's
different
like
bullshit.
no, it's like it's just cool to see like what happens when you really put energy into something and it's not. You know,
It's dope.
it's dope.
It's dope.
It's dope.
Yeah, but we all
It's
put
also
energy into
cool to
different
see
things.
when you pick 5
For sure,
albums
but
and you only listen to one. That's pretty dope. Too.
It was
Listen.
a busy week.
hey, listen.
Hey,
But
man.
by the way, I went to Comic-Con
Yeah,
this year.
listen. I made it 2 hours in. Been doing pretty good,
Has it been 2 hours?
at least.
At least.
For sure. Where are we at?
2:32.
Yeah.
Nice.
An easy 2.5. What would you expect for us?
I know.
Right? Like we're just gonna talk forever.
I'll keep going if I got hit the head. But
My
I'll keep
frequency
going.
of taking a piss will speed up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I'm ready for my
it's
third
gonna
one.
increase. I mean, all of our glasses are on Tuesday.
Yeah. That's
It's
true.
up to you. What do you want to do?
I think we had a good.
Wrap it
Yeah,
up?
let's
I
go.
would-
Let's
yeah,
go
let's
get some
wrap it up.
pizza. Yeah, we do good.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Fucking
We
Pete.
still got the whole night ahead of us. All right, guys.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
one. Thank you. Appreciate it. Like always.
Hell yeah.